Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today brings a bit less warmth with breezy conditions, sunshine and some clouds at times, and a high of 70, followed by mainly clear skies tonight and a low of 49, ahead of a mostly sunny day tomorrow with a high of 67. Clouds return Tuesday, along with showers late in the day or especially at night with a high of 69. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It's time to get greened. Doug Oster is here. All natural, no pesticides, no artificial ingredients. The Organic Gardener is on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, Doug is in jolly old London having fish and chips and a cold brew, and I'm slaving over a hot microphone. Frank Dentisi in here over the last hour. We did a bunch of stuff. We got a giant Memorial Day 2-day sale starting next weekend. Frank will be here in an hour to tell you about that. We took care of some business there. But one of my favorites is here right now. Steve Rapaski, Meadow Sweet Apiaries, Bee Control of Pittsburgh. If you're dealing with any of those things that sting, you need a helping hand, you can call us at 866-391-1020. Or you can reach him directly and his staff at 412-765-0335. So you had said something briefly, and then Doug said something briefly, and as I'm all in and all ears, I said, you got to tell me about what's going on in Kenya, and we're going to do that in a moment. But right now, if you're the 10th caller at 412-922-1020, you'll win a $25 gift certificate to Sorgels. So amazing, 2018, a group of beekeepers and educators, and now you got a 501c, Bee in Kenya, as in B-E-E. Good morning, Steve. Tell me about it.
Good morning, Rob. Yes, it's an exciting time for many of us that have kind of found this group, I guess, that we've all have a very similar love for Kenya. And it actually started long before 2018. An individual by the name of Marianne Fraser, who was an extension specialist with Penn State, was doing some research over there on honeybees. And she would come back and tell us all these stories about how great Kenya was and the people were fabulous. And we always said, yeah, you got to take us over next time, and that went on for years. And about the year before she retired, she finally caved and said, hey, yeah, let's take a group of you guys to Kenya. So about 15 of us went back in 2018. It was a mix of beekeepers and educators from across the United States, people that she's reached out and touched over the years. And it was life-changing on a number of levels, just from an environmental standpoint, to see essentially a third world country and how they have nothing, but they have everything. And starting in 2018, that changed, and here we are working on forming our 501c3 now. We're getting the paperwork together, and it's in the hands of the IRS, so to speak. And boy, the stories we're going to tell today, because it just really changed how we view life, how we view people, and how we view the honeybee that we all so much love.
One of the things that we take for granted here in Western Pennsylvania, because we are the city of three rivers, is water. And water is such an essential tool to not just live and exist, but to actually continue to be future citizenships and generations, because without water, you have nothing. You can grow food with it. You need it to nurture yourself as far as the H2O is concerned, the electrolytes and all the things that come with it, as far as taking care of your hygiene. And there are some places that water is everything.
Water is life.
Right.
Absolutely. And that is Kenya. Kenya doesn't have the four seasons that we have. They have a rainy season and a dry season. And that's kind of what started this whole journey for us for Bee in Kenya. And back in 2018, we we stopped and visited a little village called Ukasi in eastern central Kenya. And it was a school that we stopped at to just visit and see, we're experiencing Kenya. This is life. We weren't tourists, so to speak. We were involving ourselves and immersing ourselves. And upon leaving that school, we had almost 50 kids ages 4 to 8 years old, 10 years old, following us yelling, water, water, water. They wanted the water that we had because they literally had no water there. And it kind of touched us. And we weren't done with our trip that year. And we had to go down to the coast, and just so happened that we kind of had not bad planning, but some poor management on the hotel side of things, and they lost our reservations, and we ended up essentially camping out in the hotel. But they refunded us a nice sum of money, and we decided on the way home on the plane that we're going to do something for that school. And it turned out that they had a well drilled, but the contractor that drilled the well ran off with the rest of the money and failed to complete it. So we used the money that we had to purchase a pump and a cistern to pump that water into. And that's what started Be in Kenya. The following year, we purchased several more tanks to gather rainwater. We put rain collection gutters on their school buildings. And that project has now grown to easily half a dozen other projects out there, and it all started with just water.
I got to tell you what piqued my interest about this whole topic. And by the way, we'll still take your bee-related questions. Anything on your mind, you can call us at 866-391-1020. Maybe you've been to this part of the world. You want to share some thoughts, feel free to call us, 866-391-1020. Doing something a little bit different today. What really first piqued my interest, and right away there are those little springboards of variety that take you back in time. Always been a fan of athletics, but I grew up watching ABC's Wide World of Sports. Sure. Long before 24-hour cable sports channels and all the bells and whistles we have with our smartphone and scrolling and social media. And there was a runner by the name of Kip Keino who was from Kenya, who was this incredible marathon runner and very old school, you know, the 32 millimeter, the camera, the footage. They went there, Jim McKay, and kind of watched him in his day-to-day training and a little bit about the land, the people, and who they were, and how they would run without one thing that a lot of athletes get paid a lot of money, and that's shoes. Right. And I never could figure out, and I found out about the lack of water and what have you, but it just seemed as though the people, and this is 50 years ago, were so genuine in the little things that made the difference. And why were they running? No other reason than to get Kenya noticed worldwide and be able to help the people of that part of the world. So they're very spiritual people, but they love helping each other and they love promoting that part of the world.
And they're very in tune with the environment as well. So it's funny that you mentioned the runners, because we visited Mount Kenya, where a lot of those Kenyan runners train, and it's high altitude. And we were there to visit the beekeepers and whatnot. And just south of there, we stayed with a Maasai village group, and we did a 3-day hike in nature out in the bush. And we all were laughing because the Maasai warriors are very tall, very lanky, very muscular in terms of, and here we are, a bunch of Americans decked out in high-end hiking boots and gear, and they are just kicking our butts. I mean, they were going, and they were walking up these hills with sandals that they actually made out of recycled tread of tires. So they would cut the tires up, use that as their sandals, and they would outrun the fastest cheetah out there. I mean, we were just laughing because we're, out of shape Americans.
How do they deal with the elements, and especially the wildlife, the Mighty Five? How do they deal with that?
It's all, and this was kind of where we've gone with Be in Kenya, so to speak, is it's back to nature, being in tune with nature and understanding that it all comes back in some form, right? And with them, it is being in tune, understanding animal behavior, understanding what those animals are telling you, what nature is telling you. When we went on this hike, they stopped, and I felt like goats along the trail. We stopped and ate everything. I mean, every berry, every leaf, this will kill you, this won't kill you. If you eat this, that'll kill you. This is what you eat to not kill you. And it was a really... every trip, we've been there 5 years now, 5 times, and every trip it's something new, from the people to tying it into the being sustainable as a farming practice, not only just with honeybees, but how do they raise their own fruits and vegetables to feed themselves?
So it is civilization to them, but to you and I, it's, as they say, out in the bush, if you will.
Absolutely.
How is it that they haven't been touched by civilization, or they haven't gobbled up that real estate?
It's that root to their culture, right? They hold on deeply and tightly to their culture. Right. And they don't, I mean, yes, they all have cell phones, they have contact, but they have everything in focus, and they understand that their life, their ability to continue with their culture is being tied back to nature, taking in the new world ways of methane digesters and sustainable farming practices and what you grow when, but it's maintaining that grip on their culture and their pride and love for the culture that allows them to keep that modern pressure off, so to speak.
Only because I'm curious about that part of the world as I am about history. We're going to continue to talk about what they're doing with Be in Kenya, as in BEE, but he's also taking calls on anything that you want to share. If you want to do a travel log, if you've actually been there, I'd love to hear from you, 866-391-1020. So do they hunt?
No.
How do they eat?
No, so they are much vegetarian-ish.
That's what I kind of figured.
But they also raise a lot of chickens, a lot of goats. Goats and sheep are their wealth. That's their money, especially in the villages. I mean, obviously, when you get to Nairobi, the cities, it's modern currency. But when you get out to the villages, they're trading things. They're exchanging workmanship and things along those lines. So very much, we spent a lot of time with the Maasai warriors and, the old cultural ways. Drinking blood is where they get their protein. They do not kill animals. There's too much love and respect for nature. However, the chickens and everything that they utilize, not day to day, but special occasions and things like that. But they are very in tune, which kind of really makes us look at things differently here in the United States, for sure.
No doubt. We're going to also let you know maybe how you can help out their cause and what they're doing as well. But we do have a call. Cindy, Allison Park. We'll get to her on the other side. Steve Rapaski is here today from Bee Control and Meadow Sweet Apiaries. If you want to reach him at Bee Control, 412-765-0335. You want to talk to him here, 866-391-1020. It's your Pratt Pack. Good morning. Stay with us.
All the news you need for your day and the sports, music, and podcasts you love are all on the free Odyssey app. Download now.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Market with 8 locations to serve you better. Brian Reynolds home into the ninth. Not enough, though. The Pirates lost to Philadelphia 5-2. Paul Skeens gets to start today. 1:35 first pitch from Citizens Bank Ballpark in Philadelphia. You can hear it on 93.7 The Fan. Through 3 rounds of the PGA Championship, Scotty Scheffler, world number 1, shot a third-round 65 at Quail Hollow. He is at 11 under, good for a 3-shot lead. In the NHL, it was Dallas over the Jets, 2-1. Winnipeg thus eliminated. In the NBA, Denver, OKC, 7th game later today with a winner to face Minnesota in the Western Conference Final. It was journalism with a massive comeback to win the second leg of horse racing's Triple Crown, the Preakness Stakes. And the Riverhounds lost to Colorado 1-0 last night. NASCAR racing later today in North Carolina. More sports at 937thefan.com.
Hard at work for over 75 years, Dram watering tools have been the professional's choice for quality and durability. Now you can create the softest shower of rain with a Dram rain wand in your garden. Choose from 9 water patterns for a variety of uses with a revolver spray gun. And use a color storm sprinkler for a lush playground. Quality you can depend on for a lifetime. Dram, the professional's choice for lawn and garden. Available at a fine garden center near you. Visit us online at dram.com.
Folds of Honor has been meeting Sacrifice with Hope since 2019 in Western PA. It's their honor to empower people through education and the opportunities it creates. 41% of Folds of Honor scholarships are awarded to minorities, making recipient families as diverse as the country we call home. Folds of Honor has earned the Gold Star Platinum Seal, as well as 4 out of 4-star rankings on Charity Navigator. You can join their squadron today at westernpa.foldsofhonor.org. Please donate today. Spitzer Toyota of Monroeville is a proud supporter of Folds of Honor.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Hey, Paul Alexander here. It's officially crunch time. The 4th of July is right around the corner, and you know what that means. Backyard barbecues, family, friends, and the start of a summer of the new you. How would you feel if you dropped 40 pounds by the 4th with Awaken 180 weight loss? Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Forget challenges. This is about taking control with a proven program that works. It's attainable, doable, and easy. I did it. I lost 35 pounds in 6.5 weeks. Let me tell you what, life is much better without carrying around all that extra baggage. This isn't wishful thinking. It's real results without gimmicks or medication. Just smart eating, simple guidance, and a clear path to success. Make this 4th of July your personal Independence Day from unwanted pounds and keep it off thanks to a free support for life. Call Awaken 180 Weight Loss at 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com, because when the fireworks go off this year, you're going to have something even greater to celebrate.
Doug Oster tells you how to keep it green. The Organic Gardener is on 100.1 FM at AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, how can people, real quick, Steve Rapaski, find out more about Bee in Kenya, as in BEE? How can they find out more?
Yeah, so we're even after 5 years, we're still in the development stages. Of course, Bee in Kenya stands for Beekeepers and Educators Engaged in Kenya. We're working on our 501c3. Eventually, there'll be a website and Facebook page and everything out there, and we'll certainly get that information out there. It'll be tied to my Meadow Sweet Apiaries website, my Bee Control website. Anywhere we can get that information out there. We're cruising along fast, but
So I do this other show, which I do a lot of shows, but AAA is Talking Travel.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about these safaris, obviously photography now, not hunting.
Absolutely.
People go, and I had a friend who just sent me a bunch of video from Florida who had been on one in recent months. And, the mighty five, the leopards, the hippopotamus, the lion, the elephant. You got to believe, and I'm sure you've seen it firsthand, once you visit a place like Kenya, you realize how insignificant you are as a human being.
Absolutely. I remember this, I think it was the first or second year we were there, we had our bus breakdown in the middle of the bush. And the people, the Kenyans that were with us were actually afraid for us because we were walking down the road as the bus was being pushed and hauled and whatever, and they came across elephant tracks, and they made us all get real close together. They're like, this is dangerous. Like, it's just an elephant. But it's real over there. And you asked earlier in the previous segment about how they get along with wildlife and stuff like that. They're very in tune with things. The farmers over there have a major issue with elephants and crop damage, much like we do with deer in our gardens here. Their problem is an elephant. So we are working with other organizations and other farmers to create bee fences that will keep out elephants. So there's the Bee and Elephant Project that people can look up that has shown research that bees or the elephants are afraid of bees. So they create these fences of beehives, and as the elephants come in to raid the crops, it kind of shakes the hives and gets the bees riled up, and they could actually hear the bees, the elephants hear the bees, and they hightail it out of the country. But elephants are a major, major issue for farmers over there.
So that's two things I have. One thing I have in common with elements. I don't like to destroy crops, but sometimes a bee's nest can put the fear of God in you, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, here's Cindy Allison Park for Steve Rapaski. Bee control in Meadow Sweet Apiary is in for Doug Oster on the Organic Gardeners. Go ahead, Cindy.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call. Steve, I have a question. My daughter just became a beekeeper as of Friday. She just got her bees. What is the best advice you would give to her? And also, do you treat for mice?
Get out while you can now. Stop spending the money. Beekeeping is a very expensive, and congratulations to her. It's fun. It's an exciting adventure for sure. As I always tell folks, it's a long, steep learning curve, and as long as you have an excitement going into your bees every day, it's going to cost you money for sure, but it's going to give you some heartache, and it's going to give you some backaches and headaches and all that good stuff. But beekeeping is an awesome adventure. It's not for everybody, but it's certainly something that if you have an interest in doing, do it. It's awesome. As far as treating for mites, yes. I mean, mites are one of those things in the beekeeping world that are akin to the pests that we deal with in our gardens. There's the good bugs and bad bugs. As Jess used to say, and mites are one of those bad bugs that carry lots of different viruses and diseases, and if not managed, they can cause disruption to that colony, especially later in the fall and the winter. So what I would recommend to her is there's a couple of good documents out there. One is the Honeybee Health Coalition that she could look up online. There's a huge document with all kind of great advice. She needs to join a local bee association depending on where she is. There's a number of them in the area. But definitely she's off to a long, steep learning curve, and an adventure awaits for sure.
And she's in Shaler, so where would
Yeah, there's a couple good local clubs around up in Shaler. Country Barn Farm is one. I think he still has a monthly meeting. I have a monthly meeting up in Sewickley at Fern Hollow Nature Center. They are a very gracious group up there that we have lots of great experienced beekeepers that show up. There's a couple others down in Washington and Fayette and Greene. But in Shaler, she's got a number of different places. So if she gets on the Pennsylvania State Beekeepers website, there's a number of listed organizations there that she could kind of contact and reach out to.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I guess I should also throw out, if you're a beekeeper or you're thinking about becoming a beekeeper and you want to talk to Steve Rapaski, you can do that as well. So when you think of Kenya, what should I think about? What do I envision in my mind?
So what most folks envision is safari, right? The big five. And we do safaris. Of course, we have to play tourist when we're over there. Our goal with Bee in Kenya is to show the other side of Kenya, right? The in-depth, the culture, the people. They have so little, but yet they have so much, and they give so much. I mean, we're family when we go over there now. I mean, it's some of the tribal chiefs are excited for us to come over because of what we bring to them in terms of resources. We're one of those, we're not there to change the way they do things. We're there to help promote and give them ideas of sustainability. So one of the examples is there's a farm over there that we're working with. A professor bought it. It's 100 acres. He's going to use it as a teaching farm for farming and beekeeping and things along those lines. And they don't have a lot of the resources we have, especially monetary resources. So they have to use what they have. So in terms of beekeeping, we have those nice square boxes here. They're called Langstroth hives. They're standard. They're easy to get. Over there, wood is at a premium. You cannot get wood. A lot of that wood, the trees have been destroyed to be used for charcoal over the last centuries. So over there, their traditional method is to keep bees in log hives. So our goal there is not to say, hey, you need to switch hives, but let's work with you and give you resources and teach you the ways of beekeeping in a log hive so that they can create more honey so they could sell, make more money, which then provides the opportunity for kids to go to school and get an education and things like that. So our goal is to kind of bring out the background of Kenya, the Kenya that's not in the news every day and that's not just known for their safaris and their runners that go up Mount Kenya.
So the women are also very key as far as what you're doing with Bee in Kenya. Talk about that.
Yeah, so, women, that's what you asked about, right? The women, yeah. I mean, they're very engaged. We have a lot of educators on our end, teachers, and of course, in the culture of Kenya, the women have a limited access to certain things, right? They're not known to be out in the workforce. They're typically the farmers.
You're
they go out
trying to change that.
Yeah. So we're not, and it's not that we're changing it, so to speak, but we're giving them the power to go out and do more, right? So culturally, women were not allowed to climb trees. So they were never beekeepers because the bees were always kept high in the trees. Now that we're giving them different ways of doing bees at ground level, we have a lot more women getting into beekeeping, which they're also the stay-at-home. The men are the shepherds, especially in the Maasai world. They're out doing the shepherding. The women now could be at home taking care of kids, working the bees, etc. And of course, there's so many different cultures in Kenya. Maasai is just one of them and the most popular, but it goes across all the different tribes in Kenya in different ways, and we're working with many of them to just give them the power and the materials to be better.
All right, Bee in Kenya, as in BEE. Much more to come. We'll talk about the organization, what they're doing with schools, with water, helping them cultivate a craft, a trade, and beekeeping being a very sustainable thing as far as their village is concerned and what they're doing in Kenya. Very interesting stuff today. Steve Rapaski is here, Meadow Sweet Apiaries and Bee Control. You can reach them at 412-765-0335. If you have a question, you're a beekeeper, you're dealing with bees, you can get it answered right now at 866-391-1020. Rob Taylor coming up next with that news. Steve Rapaski today for Doug Oster on The Organic Gardener on KDKA.
Asbestos-related deaths in Allegheny County are 50 to 100% higher than the national average. In a city defined by its history with steel making, many local area tradesmen and steel workers were exposed to asbestos on the job and are now suffering from lung cancer or mesothelioma. If you have been diagnosed with lung cancer or mesothelioma, you may be entitled to compensation, even if you smoked. For a free consultation, contact the Pittsburgh-based law firm Goldberg, Persky & White at 1-800-COMPLEX or online at gpwlaw.com.
Hey, your Pratt Pack again for the Janoski family, Route 30 in Clinton. And they'll be opening their doors in just about 30 minutes. And they're there every day, 7 days a week, beginning at 8 a.m. in the morning. So stop by and shop their beautiful selection in the Greenhouse and Garden Center. Vegetable plants, herbs, 4-inch potted flowers, citronella, tropics, ferns, hanging baskets, fairy garden plants, succulents, grasses, and more. And again, open daily, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Like them on Facebook. Find out more at janoskis.com. And as I've always been saying for years, all roads lead to the farm. Janoski's Farm, Clinton, Pennsylvania.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this important announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free. with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-384-7878. 800-384-7878. 800-384-7878.
Don't miss the Round Ball Classic at the Rising Star Invitational Memorial Day weekend. The action starts Thursday with the region's best basketball tournament at the Rising Star Invitational, tipping at 6 from Rise Sports and Leadstead, followed by the Round Ball Classic Saturday at 3 from North Allegheny High School. It's brought to you by Caveman AAU, Brian Patton and Associates. Run the show, and by Preston and Grafton Insurance Agency, only on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
From the Aetna Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
It is 59 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 7:30. I'm Rob Taylor. A man is in critical condition after being hit by a train late Saturday night. It happened on the south side around 11 p.m. around East 12th and Wesley Streets. That man suffered a cut to the head. Norfolk Southern, the company that runs the train that struck the man, is leading that investigation. Also, a 16-year-old male was transported to the hospital in stable condition after being shot in the leg. It happened in the Hill District. And that shooting happened Saturday evening in the 600 block of Perry Street. Multiple shell casings were found at the scene. No word on any suspect descriptions. A man is in stable condition this morning after being shot in both legs. That shooting happened Saturday afternoon around 12:30 in the 1100 block of Cherry Alley. That's in Duquesne. No word on any suspect descriptions. Well, the 33rd Susan G. Komen More Than Pink Walk will occur this morning at Shenley Park. That walk, which is formerly known as the Race for the Cure, is aimed at raising money, awareness, and support for a cure for breast cancer. Opening ceremonies begin at 9 this morning, where breast cancer survivors will be honored and inspiring stories of resilience will be shared. That's followed by the walk at 9:30. Thousands are expected to participate, and the organization is hoping to raise $500,000 for breast cancer research. Pope Leo XIV's inauguration mass was held in St. Peter's Square. CBS News reporter Sabrina Castelfranco has more.
14th first made his debut tour of the square in an open-top Pope-mobile, blessing a cheering crowd, waving American, Peruvian, and Vatican flags. Then during the Mass, in his homily, Leo said he wanted to be a servant to the faithful through the two dimensions of the papacy, love and unity.
KDKA Radio News Time, 7:32. The AccuWeather forecast next.
What happens when the power goes out at homes that have a standby Honeywell generator by Generac from AirPro Heating and Cooling? Absolutely nothing. Your power continues with a Honeywell generator from AirPro. Right now, save $1,000 when you buy a Honeywell generator from AirPro. Plus, get a free 7-year warranty on parts and labor. Call someone you know. Call the home generator experts at AirPro today. 800-749-0642. That's 800-749-0642. Tickets are on sale now for the upcoming season of the Pittsburgh Speaker Series presented by University of Pittsburgh and Heinz Hall with Dr. Anthony Fauci, Malcolm Gladwell, historian Doris Kearns Goodwin, former National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster, National Geographic photographer Christina Mittermeier, former Russian political prisoner Vladimir Kara-Murza, and geopolitical economist Pippa Malmgren. For information and tickets, go to pittsburghspeakers.org, sponsored by News Radio KDKA and the Spanos Group of Raymond James.
Success is picking up extra shifts for your family. Now you want to be the boss. Success is getting your foot in the door. Now you want to take the next step. Success looks different to everyone, and University of Maryland Global Campus can help you reach your goals. And there's never been a better time to get started on your future. Apply now and save with no application fee. As an accredited state university, UMGC has been transforming lives for over 75 years. With more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, online and hybrid courses, personalized support, financial resources, and lifetime career services, achieving your dreams is more possible than ever before. Choose the program that's right for your career goals and get started on your next success. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
For the second half of this weekend, expect breezy conditions today with sunshine, some clouds around, and a high of 70, with mostly clear skies in store for tonight on the way to a low of 49, leading to a rather sunny day for tomorrow with a high of 67. Clouds do return on Tuesday with some showers around late or at night, high 69. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, we'll be back to it on Monday. Can't wait. We'll get the week started right. And, so join me, 2 to 6, Colin Dunlap right here, KDKA.
Steve Rapaski, B Control, 412-765-0335 in Meadows Suite Apiaries. Is that farm market open up again in Swickland?
It is. Every Saturday, 9 to 1.
I love Swickland.
The best farmers market in the area.
I hear nothing but rave reviews. All right, 10th caller right now wins a $25 gift certificate to the Janoski Farm out in Clinton, 412-922-1020. Doug is off. He's in jolly old England, back with us next week. Steve is here talking about Bee in Kenya, soon to become a 501c, a labor of love, getting ready to head back to Kenya later this year. That's BEE in Kenya. Mission is to partner with socially conscious organizations and schools in Kenya to promote appreciation, understanding, and knowledge of natural and ecosystems. They will focus their efforts on bees and beekeeping, highlighting their ecological importance and potential for sustainable income generation. So it really is the best of both worlds for you guys. Bee in Kenya.
Absolutely. I mean, it took us 5 years to get here, amazingly enough. And every year we talked more and more about it. And we finally had a group this year that just all the right people in the right places, and then we decided to really make a thing of this. Because before, a lot of the money that we gave to these, whether it's an individual or a group, was out of pocket. We weren't taking financial contributions, so to speak. I mean, it was out of our own generosity and love for the people and the environment of Kenya itself. And a lot of it comes back to just what the mission statement says is sustainable income for generations. And off the air, you and I were talking about a couple of the folks that we deal with who, the one beekeeper, Mulua, who I've become very close with since day one 5 years ago, longer than that, but in the first trip, he creates those log hives and he uses that income to put his kids through school. And just a couple $100 puts them through school for a couple of years. So just it's the little things. I mean, we take so much for granted here in the United States. We have another woman beekeeper who over the years has learned how to make candles through us, and we bought her molds that they can't get over there to create those candles. She sells those candles to buy more beekeeping equipment and buy fabric so her sister can make dresses, right? So there's all these different things that tie together. Another farmer that we're working with, we recently purchased a methane digester. So there's hundreds of sheep or dozens of sheep and goats. Where's that manure go? Just lays around. So now with this methane digester, they could actually collect that manure. They put it into a digester. It ferments and breaks down. The methane that's created, they're actually using now to heat. Well, they don't necessarily need heat, but over there, they believe it or not, 60 degrees over there is freezing cold for them.
Absolutely.
They're not adjusted to it.
So it turns into energy.
But it turns into energy. They cook with it. And one of the issues over in Kenya and many parts of Africa where they've harvested trees to create charcoal, which is what they use to cook with. So there's very few trees in many parts of Kenya. So we're taking away now that aspect of things and saying, hey, here's a way you have energy to cook with. Stop cutting down the trees. Let's be more sustainable. When you have more trees, you have a healthier environment. It's better for the bees, because of course we are beekeepers and we're focusing on that. Showing them how to do what we call seed bombs, taking acacia seeds and spreading them across the environment and protecting those young trees for future generations of not only bees, but the kids and wildlife.
So let me ask you, this is the frustrating thing to me, and maybe it's because of my Depression-era parents and my grandparents. What we waste in this country alone when it comes to food and natural resources and water, where people will spend as much as $3 to $4 for a bottle of water, and then you're over there in the bush, starlit night, looking around, listening to nature, thinking, man, we've got to learn a way to balance things on this planet a little bit more if we want to be around.
It's amazing. You're right. We waste a lot. And over there, we talked about the trip in the bush that we hiked. It was 5 of us that hiked for 3 days, and we laid out under the stars with the baboons on the cliff above us and the lions roaring out in the bush. And they used everything that we munched on everything that nature provides and whatnot. So going back to the water, at the very first trip that we built this water system for this school, prior to that, the villagers used to travel upwards of 5 to 10 miles to come and get water. Now, with the development of that water source, they're only going less than 2 miles, but they're walking every day to get water, and they're carrying big 5-gallon jugs of water. Even the animals that they utilize, or the plants that they utilize, everything gets utilized in that environment, and they're in touch with nature, right? So it's a very moving trip for us. It's a very emotional trip, but do we come back just energized and recharged, and makes us want to do something more.
See, and the other thing, too, that I have learned from watching, so many different shows, public television, History Channel, documentaries, even though we look at some of the big five, some of that I had mentioned earlier, kind of a fear factor, to them, it's a part of their homeland, too. Those lions have every much a right of being there as they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the villagers were telling us they had a lion come in and kill one of the goats. And we said, well, what do? Do you kill the lion? Do you whatever? And they kind of laughed and said, if it's one goat, that's their gift back to the lion. We're in their area. The lion can have his meal. They said if it starts to be a problem, then they have to take it on themselves. And they literally said eye for an eye. So if there's so many goats that get killed, I forget what the equation was. He's like, if it's 15 goats, then we go take one lion. So it's a
ecosystem.
And it's and to us, like, wow, it might seem cruel that you're killing a lion, but that's their real world, right? That's how they have to survive.
But they also, at all times, like you were talking about when your bus broke down and you were walking back and they're telling you to huddle together because of elephants possibly lurking, they are conscious of the world around them 24/7.
Absolutely. It just, again, I go back to that bush trip where every little noise they're aware of, and they know. The honey guide is another perfect example. It was a bird over in Kenya. And it's called the honey guide because it actually can lead the beekeeper to a tree that has bees in it. So over centuries of this mutual relationship between birds and humans, the bird learned that as a human goes in to take honey out of a wild bee tree, they would toss off some of the extra honey to the bird, and the bird would eat it. Now we actually saw it happen where they heard the bird call, and the guide, the Maasai warrior, said, hey, listen. And he started calling back to the bird, and the bird came in, and he changed his call and communicated with the bird, which seems funny to listen to, but he actually changed his vocal tones. The bird changed their vocal tones, and the bird took off and headed towards a bee tree. And our Maasai warrior said, we'll follow him, and we'll go straight to a bee tree. And we didn't because we were trying to get home, but he said, yeah, there's a bee tree over there. He says, we'll come back. We'll talk to the bird. And they had just that relationship. It's really
So Meadow Sweet Apiary is available at that Swickley's Farm Market every single week. But what about honey to them? What do they use honey for in Kenya?
Honey is their sweetener. That's their sugar. When we were on that trip, we went to 3 different wild bee trees, which was really neat to see how they pulled honey out. No protection, just a little bit of smoke, a fire right in front of the hive, pulled out comb and ate it right on the spot. They don't take it home with them. To them, that is their treat for being out and living in nature, so to speak. So they pulled out what they needed, ate it on the spot, and that's their sugar. Now, those that have beehives, obviously that's an everyday sweetener for them. They don't use sugar. They don't have all this artificial coloring and flavors and stuff like that. That is their sweetener, and they use it to make special teas. When we were hiking, every day they made some different tea that included honey, but it was one for being tired, one for sore muscles, one for natural stuff. Unbelievable.
Health-wise, you don't see people that are like obese over there, high blood pressure, diabetes.
No, and they have, they don't know their birthdays, which is interesting. When we're talking in the villages.
Well, if you live long enough, even in the States, you forget your birthday.
But they have a remedy for everything. They eat healthy. They are healthy. It's just
amazing, isn't it?
It's just eye-opening.
Listen, here it is, 50 years later, and Kip Keino is still one of my all-time favorites. And I'll never forget that story and the beauty of him running with that in the background. And literally with no shoes. And when then they went to the Olympics on the asphalt, the concrete, they did the same thing. Do they have the Maasai rituals growing up, even though obviously the purpose isn't the same? Do they still follow some of those things that have been around for generations?
To a T. To a T. Some of the Maasai warriors actually do have modern jobs. One guy we talked to said he was a banker. Another one did something else. And a lot of them say, you know what, we did it because we needed the money to sustain. But many of them come back to their roots and become shepherds and farmers. And they still, what you see in National Geographic is what you get. I mean, they are not dressing up for tourists and show and tell. They are living the life.
What's their housing like?
Their housing are mud huts.
Still
for the Maasai, yeah. Now there's 40 some different tribes in Kenya, but the Maasai are still mud huts. They mud manure. We walked into one last trip, not this previous one, 2 trips ago. They have a fire inside the hut. It's completely dark. They have one little window that's literally 6 inches in diameter, hot as Hades in there, and they were cooking a bean soup for us to eat. Smoky. I mean, it's just we came out tears. I mean, it's. They're living, that's how they live, and it's just truly amazing that
You need to get a camera crew with you. All right, we'll take a break, check some sports, come back, wrap it up with Steve Rapaski. Always interesting stuff. What a journey in life. But if you're dealing with those bees and hornets and wasps and all the things that just drive you crazy this time of year, Bee Control is where you can reach him, the professionals at Bee Control, 412-765-0335, 412-765-0335. And the sweetness of Meadow Sweet Apiary is available at that Swickley Farmers Market. And, he can get you some of that, too. So stay with us. Much more to come on KDKA in just a couple of moments. The Organic Gardener, Doug, on vacation.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA. News Radio. KDKA. Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Market with 8 locations to serve you better. Brian Reynolds home into the ninth. Not enough, though. The Pirates lost to Philadelphia 5-2. Paul Skeens gets to start today. 1:35 first pitch from Citizens Bank Ballpark in Philadelphia. You can hear it on 93.7 The Fan. Through 3 rounds of the PGA Championship, Scotty Scheffler, world number 1, shot a third-round 65 at Quail Hollow. He is at 11 under, good for a 3-shot lead. In the NHL, it was Dallas over the Jets, 2-1. Winnipeg thus eliminated. In the NBA, Denver, OKC, 7th game later today with a winner to face Minnesota in the Western Conference Final. It was journalism with a massive comeback to win the second leg of horse racing's Triple Crown, the Preakness Stakes. And the Riverhounds lost to Colorado 1-0 last night. NASCAR racing later today in North Carolina. More sports at 937thefan.com.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensated for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it, and the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
Spring planting is in full swing. Hi, it's Randy Sorgel from Sorgels in Wexford. When making your choice for quality plants, friendly service, and family reputation, we hope you choose Sorgels. Remember, not only do you get all of that at Sorgels, we have the farm animals, the bakery, the deli, ice cream, the gift shop, home accents, baby apparel, Naturally Sorgel's gluten-free store, as well as Arsenal cider, and of course, there's Tiny Town. But if you are not able to get to Sorgel's, please pick a family-owned garden center close to you, like the other advertisers in this show. Families care about you and need your support. and they don't sell washing machines. So please, thanks for your support to all of us and the other hardworking families in the gardening industry. Sorgles 724-935-2090.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Doug Oster tells you how to keep it green. The Organic Gardener is on 100.1 FM at AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, so I am fascinated about Kenya and Bee in Kenya, BEE, getting that 501c very soon. And I may even bring Steve back on my show once he gets back from Kenya in the evening, just to kind of get you caught up on what's going on over there, because it is an amazing story for sure, and I want to hear more about it. But we're going to talk about now what he is special at, and that's Bee Control, as far as helping people dealing with all of those things that we deal with this time of year, especially when the weather warms up. So what do we need to be looking for, Steve?
Yeah, so right now we're in our prevention season. You know, a lot of people are getting antsy because they're seeing insects flying around. They might get one or two inside the house, and that's all normal. I mean, it's being in nature, so to speak. What we want to watch out for here, starting about the later part of June, is when people should start to be very vigilant about the nesting that's going to start occurring at that time. So when you're mowing your grass, watch for those insects that might be coming out of the ground. You know, the nest that's on the eave of your house that's slowly growing that you didn't notice now because it's not there, but in another 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to start to see these nests pop up. So we encourage people when they're out and about doing yard work, you know, look up, look around, be observant, you know, pay attention to activity that's coming in and out. You know, even though we're in the city, we're still in nature, and there's going to be always an insect flying around. I had a customer call the other day that was concerned because there was a couple of wasps that flew past her when they were on the deck eating dinner. And that's, you know, not to say that it's insignificant, but certainly if it happens every night and it's just consistent, then yeah, there's something going on there. But, you know, they can give us a call. We are tied up pretty heavily right now with preventative services, but here in another 4 weeks or so, we will enter what we call our emergency season with dealing with nest removals and whatnot, because that's when they start nesting. So, you know, watch your yard as you're mowing grass come July, when you're cleaning up those leaf piles in your garden and whatnot. We're ending that time that you want to be vigilant for nesting, because when you have nesting, you have increase in population. When you have increased population, you have increased risk of being stung.
All right, let me give you Steve's number again, 412-765-0335, 412-765-0335. In Meadow Sweet Ape area, Swickley Farm Market, where else?
That's it. That's the top-notch place to be, is Swickley Farmers Market, 9 to 1, every Saturday, all the way through the week before Thanksgiving. We're the longest-running farmers market. Starts first week of April. We take off for Easter, and it's every weekend, rain or shine, snow, sleet, hail, you name it, we're there. My wife is usually there because I'm out running around, but some of the greatest vendors. You can get your fresh beef, your fresh pork, your chicken, eggs.
Where's this at in Swickley?
St. James, the church.
Parking lot.
St. James
Nice.
parking lot. Yeah, you can't miss it right off of Walnut Street. So 65 to Walnut Street, can't miss all the signs. Stop in.
So when Pope Leo makes his trip back to America, maybe he can stop off.
I'll give him a jar of honey for sure.
Hey, the other thing, I just am curious. What is a delicious, what's the go-to meal in Kenya? Like you mentioned, that bean soup. I bet you that was really good.
Yeah, the bean soup. I'm a meat eater. Plain down.
Yeah, not the place to be.
Not the place to be. But lots of vegetables. Okra, beans. Ugali is a popular cultural dish, which is just basically cornstarch, into like a firm rice patty type of thing. That's very good. Just a lot of vegetables, a lot of goat. that's their meat of choice in chicken. But it's a lot of vegetarian meals, which is, again, I'm a meat eater, but boy, they make some good stuff.
Well, here's the other thing, too. There's no air fryers or microwaves, right?
No, it's all cooked from scratch every day.
Open fire?
Open fire.
Pot, kettle?
Yep. In the villages, it's all just open fire, pot, kettle, and some of the best homemade meals you ever have.
As we used to say in the neighborhood, any hooch, what do they like?
They do. They made, one of the beekeepers made us some stuff. Essentially, it was mead. I forget, they called it honey water, and he made it with fresh honey from his hive, and they mix everything, the comb, even a couple of bees thrown in there. I think I got a stinger in my tooth, but you take a sip of that, you'll be walking in circles for a while.
I don't know. They probably get so excited to see you, though, because you're doing so much good for them.
Yeah, and it's not, yes, it's because of that, but it's also, as I mentioned off there, the friends that we've made, it's family over there. I mean, we come and it's, hey, stay with us, and they offer everything to us.
Do you think if they ever came and spent like a month with us, that they would be able to understand why we complain so much?
We actually have one of them coming in June to spend a month, and he's one of the professors, so it just baffles them. We show them pictures of snow, and they lose their mind. Like, how can you survive in that? We had one woman asked us how the babies survive in the snow, because they don't have snow over there.
All right. It's always good seeing you.
Likewise.
All right. Stay with us. Don't forget 412-765-0335. 412-765-0335. All right. News coming up next.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Executive Director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, Rich Fitzgerald, encompassing 10 counties and City of Pittsburgh.
As usual.
Let's start at the airport, because you were just there again, and you're saying they're making major progress.
Yeah, I think the report is 92, 93%, and it looks absolutely beautiful.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
For a beautiful garden that's healthy and safe, use Dramatic Organic Fertilizers by Dram. It's the organic choice to produce brilliant fruits and vegetables that are healthy for your family. And because it's all natural, it's safe for barefoot fun and playful pets. Available at your local garden center or nursery. Ask for Dramatic Organic Fertilizers. Visit us online at dram.com. Dramatic Organic for dramatic results.
Okay, listen up. This is Dr. Shufo from the Weight Loss and Wellness Center. There are no negatives to clothes fitting better. Being able to walk up the stairs not winded, getting up off the floor easily, decreased meds and off medications, better hip and knee replacements, greater self-worth and self-esteem, and absolutely feeling genuinely happy with who you are. That's exactly what we're going to do together. Call for making these changes become a reality. 1-800-900-THIN.
Larry Richard with Andy Amrine from Evie True Value Hardware Store. Thanks, Andy, for introducing me to Harmony Organic Insect Control.
Harmony is your first true organic insect control on the market, Larry. It's good for fleas, ticks, spiders, bed bugs, ants, everything. All those nasty insects that are living in your house, you now have an organic way of controlling it. Harmony Organic Insect Control.
Available at harmonyoic.com or Evie True Value Hardware Store.
Magnificent May savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. Save with your Coons Reward Card. St. Louis style spare ribs, $3.29 a pound. Whole seedless watermelons, $3.99 each. And selected varieties of Hillendale Farm shredded, sliced, or chunked cheese, 8-ounce packages, $1.77 each. Additional savings in our meat department. 93% lean fresh ground sirloin, $5.79 a pound. And USDA Choice PA Angus sirloin tip steaks or roast, $5.99 a pound. In the produce department, selected varieties of Little Leaf Farm salad greens, 4-ounce packages, 2 for $6, and jumbo Florida vine ripe tomatoes, 99 cents a pound. In the deli department, Belgioso fresh mozzarella balls, 8-ounce packages, $3.99 each, and Coons homemade bruschetta, $6.99 a pound. And this week, selected varieties of San Giorgio pasta, 12 to 16-ounce boxes, 99 cents each.
So get in on the magnificent May savings at Coons Market. Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Did you know that now you can listen to all your favorite stations, including this one, shows, and even podcasts, all on the Odyssey app? Download it now.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh, W261AX Pittsburgh.
From the Aetna Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 59 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 8 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. A man is in critical condition after being hit by a train late Saturday night. It happened on the south side around East 12th and Wesley Streets. The man suffered a cut to the head. Norfolk Southern, the company that runs the train that struck the man, is leading the investigation. Pittsburgh police say a 14-year-old was shot overnight in the south side slopes. That shooting happened on Magdalen Street. Teen was found with gunshot wounds to the chin and chest. That teenager was transported to the hospital in critical condition. Right now, it's unclear any descriptions of any suspects in the shooting. Also, a 12-year-old boy has died after being found in the Monongahela River in Denora. Police say a group of kids called 911 Saturday morning saying they were swimming in the water and were unable to find their friend, the 12-year-old boy. A search and rescue operation began around 10:50 Saturday morning. 12-year-old boy was found around 3:30 p.m. in the water. Washington County Coroner has identified the 12-year-old as Ronte Lester. The Ringgold School District is providing support to the community with grief counselors. A man is in stable condition after being shot in both legs. Shooting happened Saturday afternoon in the 1100 block of Cherry Alley in Duquesne. Right now, no word on any suspect descriptions. CBS News correspondent Christian Benavidez now says one person was killed in an explosion outside of a Palm Springs, California fertility clinic.
Several federal agencies, including the ATF and FBI, are investigating the blast. Attorney General Pam Bondi said she's been briefed on the incident and wrote in a statement, "We are working to learn more, but let me be clear. The Trump administration understands that women and mothers are the heartbeat of America. Violence against the fertility clinic is unforgivable." Christian Benavides, CBS News.
Well, coming up this morning, it's the 33rd Komen More Than Pink Walk at Shenley Park. The walk, which was formerly known as the Race for the Cure, is aimed at raising money, awareness, and support for a cure for breast cancer. Opening ceremonies begin at 9 this morning, where breast cancer survivors will be honored and inspiring stories of resilience will be shared. That's followed by the walk at 9:30. Thousands expected to attend and participate, and the organization is hoping to raise $500,000 for breast cancer research. KDKA Radio News Time, 8:02. AccuWeather forecast next.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Lunch was great. Lawrenceville is such a fun spot.
Can we stop at a bathroom?
Are you all right?
I keep having stomach issues after eating, like diarrhea, gas and bloating, abdominal pain, and sometimes oily stools.
Sound familiar? Those stomach issues may actually be a pancreas issue called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Creon pancrelipase may help manage EPI. Creon is a prescription medicine used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. Call 800-633-9110 or visit creoninfo.com to learn more. That's creoninfo.com.
I'm asking my doctor about EPI and if Creon could help.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today brings a bit less warmth with breezy conditions, sunshine and some clouds at times, and a high of 70, followed by mainly clear skies tonight and a low of 49, ahead of a mostly sunny day tomorrow with a high of 67. Clouds return Tuesday, along with showers late in the day or especially at night with a high of 69. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following program is paid for by Coons Quality Market. This is the Coons Cooking Hour. The crew from Coons Market are here. It's the great food you grew up with and the recipes that make Pittsburgh someplace special.
You know, I got to tell you, folks, and Frankie was just saying this moments ago, if they could actually see behind the curtain what goes on here on the weekends, they wouldn't believe it. Frank says, you know, when I'm doing things at the office, I have a little bit of extra time. You have to do everything in your life within 5 minutes because that's all I have during the newscast, coffee, restroom break, putting all the bells and whistles together for the next show. And he was here early today cutting all of these commercials. We had to do extra ones because of the 5-day sale. And I still have got hours to go. But right now, this is my show, the one that I live for and I love because I love the grocery industry. It's the Coons Cooking Hour. And today, we're going to be talking about ground meat recipes. But before we do any of that, this is some stuff you need to know. Now, as I mentioned, we were doing some commercials and extra ones in the 6 o'clock hour that you'll be hearing all week starting on Wednesday at KDKA. But I want you to focus on next weekend because of Memorial Day weekend. We have a giant 2-day sale, Saturday and Sunday, the 24th and 25th. Things like French's Yellow Mustard, 20-ounce bottles, 2 for $3. We have got Kraft American Cheese Singles, 10.7 to 12-ounce packages, 2 for $4. And Wonder Classic Buns, great for those hamburgers, 8-count package, $1.88. And I have to mention these folks because they're Philadelphia proud. They are Tasty Cakes, selected varieties, 9.5 to 11.5-ounce package, $1.88. Names like Utz and others, all sorts of great sale items. But it's a weekend 2-day sale to help you with Memorial Day next Saturday and Sunday, May 24th and 25th. And one thing is for sure, Frank NTC, these 2-day sales, they really do work, do they not? Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, they do, because we're bringing things to when the customer wants it. We're doing things out of convenience for the customer, and convenience for the customers. And in 1 or 2 days, I got Memorial Day, and I got people coming over. Hey, you know what? Coon's got a 2-day sale going on to give me some extra savings. Let's go. That's what our point is behind there, is to save you money when you need it, not when we think you should run a deal. And the savings that we got, it's Memorial Day. Hamburger, hot dog, Wonder Classic Buns, 8-count pack, $1.88. My favorite snack, Cheez-Its, $1.88 for the 7-ounce packages. On the Border tortilla chips, $1.88. Utz potato chips, $1.88. I mean, these are deals for your picnic that you're going to have. We got a deal for our potato salads. We passed it on to you. So we got the red potatoes, 5-pound bags, 2 for $5. And we have Turner's iced tea.
Yeah, by the way,
64 ounces, 3 for $4.
Everybody gets on me about my pretzels that I have every Sunday. I don't think in recent memory that I can remember a week that Frank hasn't shown up here with a pint or half a gallon of Turner's tea.
All the time. I just love that iced tea. It's refreshing.
It is.
Between that and water, that's my go-to drinks now.
Listen, we've got lots of stuff to get to on the program today, but remember, how do you find the Coons Market nearest you? Click on coonsmarket.com. Giant 2-day sale this Saturday and Sunday, May 24th and 25th. But now we get a chance to talk about ground meat recipes. So let me ask you, when it comes to portion size, and by the way, if you have a ground meat recipe, meatloaf, meatballs, and more, call us now, because if you get in here with a recipe before the hour is up, you may be taking home a $25 gift certificate from Coons Market, that Pittsburgh tradition. Tacos, whatever ground meat is used for, chili, we want to hear your secret sauce. Give us a call, 866-391-1020. So when you're having a picnic at home, portion size, you want to be, frugal, but you want to be plentiful too. So meet me halfway when it comes to the proper circumference of a hamburger. How big should a single hamburger be?
Well, really, I focus more on Like usually my burgers are about a quarter. They're about a quarter pound. So, if you get a pound of ground beef, four patties out there is going to give you a very decent size burger patty. Understand they're going to shrink a little bit because you're cooking. You see those juices come up. Obviously those are going to be dripping down. That's bringing the flavor out. You have to render that fat to get the flavor through it. So they're going to shrink a little bit no matter what. If they don't shrink, something's wrong. Because you're cooking juices. Unless you're cooking them slower, then you're going to keep those juices in there. And I know the popularity of smash burgers have really grown, and where you're smashing it, I smash it before I cook it. That way I don't lose those wonderful juices that are in there. And I don't smash it on the grill because that's going to be not going to be as good. But burgers really, because they cook up so good and they have such a wonderful flavor and the amount of toppings that you can put on it and all that, they're very popular for this time of year. And like for this week, we have the 93% ground sirloin. This is fresh ground sirloin. This is we grab in sirloin and we ground the whole piece. And $5.79 a pound, and we're using PA Angus beef. This is local, Pennsylvania only, born and raised here in PA. It's slaughtered on the east side of the state and brought over every day. And we feature this PA Angus beef, and I like keeping it that local within the state because we raise a lot of cattle here in PA that people don't realize. They see the dairy farms, but the actual cattle itself, we raise a lot here and ship it out to the Midwest. Why not save the shipping costs and stay here in PA and process it and support, the local businesses here. Again, we have it $5.79 a pound this week, that fresh ground sirloin, that leaner flavor. So yes, it's a little bit leaner. You don't have the same fat content, but you cook it that little bit slower, and you obviously play on the seasonings and the cheese or whatever you decide to put on top of that burger. You're going to have a nice beefy flavor and a little bit better for you, and just a great taste. And again, local beef too, and it has a different flavor. It has a better flavor, And I just highly recommend it.
When you think about picnics, as your dad used to say, it's limitless as far as your imagination is concerned. I think sometimes people try to go big, with steaks and chops and veggies and sirloin. Of course, always that strip steak, a family favorite, and seafood and things of that nature. But sometimes grab some of those hamburger buns, get your favorite condiments, get some stuff like tomatoes and lettuce and onions and pickles, and just kind of kick back, relax, a couple of dozen packs of hot dogs, your favorite soft drink, a couple of 6-packs of beer. You can have a really no stress, lots of delicious stuff, and a little bit of a cookout in the backyard. We have gone so far now with taking the kitchen from the indoors to the outdoors to where people are trying to do, smokers and briskets and barbecue. But sometimes the old ways are the best way. Even if you just get a Weber grill, throw in some, charcoal, and just light it, and then get yourself some burgers and hot dogs, you can have a really good time. Less expensive, too.
Don't forget to cook. You got to keep it simple so the cook can actually sit down with you and enjoy some food, too. You keep it simple, just some burgers, some hot dogs, or grab some fresh chicken and put, I like the bone-in chicken breast because they got a little more flavor to them. They have the skin on them that give that flavor. Bringing those items out. The old-fashioned charcoal grill. It's not really old-fashioned. You get that nice smoking flavor to it, that nostalgia of doing that. But I mean, just the ease of not having to bring out a tank of propane and worry if it's going to run out if you're using it a lot through the day. Just the charcoal, bring it out. You're done. You get that nice, perfect flavor to it that you're looking for. Anyone around you is going to smell that cooking and want to have some. It just works out. It works out great. And it all depends on your convenience, too. A lot of times the propane ones work better. Sometimes electric ones. Like at home, I have an electric smoker. It just works out better that way for me. Whatever's convenient for you. But if you're going to be taking your picnic outside the house, grab a bag of Kingsford and go old school. Just get that old round grill, that old round Weber or the square Weber grill. Throw up some charcoal and just impress some people out there that you can actually still cook with charcoal.
Listen, sometimes it's still easy just going slow and relaxing and just letting all that charcoal and all the flavor and the smoke and the grill and family around that redwood picnic table and that umbrella table with that umbrella over top, maybe some torches as far as burning your favorite kerosene wicks into the night. And kind of going old school. I think sometimes we overthink things too much. And you know what? When it comes to your basic hamburgers and hot dogs and your ketchup, your condiments, and that stuff from the deli, you can do a picnic for a whole lot of folks at a very reasonable price, Frank.
Yeah, definitely. Depending if you want to make everything or make half of it. We have a wonderful selection of salads where you can bring a bunch of different salads, or go potluck where everyone brings something along with it, and then you're cooking the protein on the grill. Makes it easy. And even with hot dogs, they get a bad rap, but today's hot dogs aren't yesterday's hot dogs. These are better products are in them. They have a great flavor. I stick with the beef ones. I just like the flavor a little bit better. I do like a nice casing hot dog as well. And where you put on the grill and it gets that little bit of charcoal on the outside, and you just keep going until it cracks. As soon as it splits, it's done, and put it on the bun. But today's are just a lot better, and I always stick to quality. I love a ballpark hot dog. Ballpark's going to be one of my go-tos, and it plumps up really nice. If I'm going to go to a casing hot dog, I pick up the Smith's casing ones that we sell over in our meat departments, because they get that nice. Again, they grill up nice. They have a great, more of a little tiny bit of a garlicky flavor to them, which I like. And, the casing's not thick, so it's not going to get stuck in your teeth or anything like that.
All right.
It has a great flavor.
Let's take some calls on the other side. It's Ground Meat Recipes, 866-391-1020. Don't forget that giant 2-day sale. Look for the flyer. It's happening this Saturday and Sunday, May 24th and 25th at Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition. It's your Pratt Pack.
Your source for everything that's news. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
I'm with Rocco Florio from Air Pro Heating and Cooling with great news.
Air Pro and Bryant are now offering the $1,000 rebate program. Buy a furnace, take $1,000 off. Add a central air conditioning system, take another $1,000 off. That's $2,000 savings.
Plus up to 60 months interest-free financing or low 3.9% interest, subject to credit approval. So call someone you know. Call Air Pro Heating and Cooling at 800-749-0642. Bryant, whatever it takes.
The Peace Lily is so last year. Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
All the news you need for your day and the sports, music, and podcasts you love are all on the free Odyssey app. Download now.
The diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, put your thinking caps on. Any tree-related questions next hour. My man Carlos McClintock, Greater Pitt Tree Service, he's been working double duty because of all the storm cleanup from a couple of weeks ago. So if you have any storm-related questions when it comes to your trees, get ready to call in next hour. But here's Keith in Moon wants to talk to us on KDKA's Coons Cooking Hour. Hey, Keith.
Hey, Rob, Frank, Miss Big Daddy Joe, but still a terrific show. Hey, I made some hamburgers myself this week. And I usually make cheeseburger. But this week I went, let me get to my, the way I learned to make a hamburger was watching my mom. She put the meat in a bowl, dice up an onion, plop an egg in there, and if we had any old bread that, we weren't getting ready to use for a sandwich or something, we should throw it in there, get them just right, cook the hamburgers up like that. This week, instead of the cheeseburger, I went with a little ketchup, mustard, and brown sugar. How's that sound?
Oh, that sweetness with the brown sugar. It's that nice little extra touch there. Yeah, it sounds great. Sometimes simple is better.
I liked it, man. I got one left.
Well, there you go. Now you're ready for today. Just heat that up.
All right, guys. You guys are doing well. Keep it up.
All right.
Thank you. And I like the cutting of the onion sound effects. That really adds to the recipe.
I'll tell you, we spare no expense on this show. All right, here we go. Here's Diane Valencia on KDKA. Hey, Di.
Good morning, guys. This is great. I mean, it's definitely burger season, but with the fabulous zucchini that you have on sale this week, if you take those zucchinis, cut them in half, core them out a little bit, even if they're the little smaller ones, and then next what you're going to do is cover them with a little bit of olive oil, set them on a tray, take a pound of your ground meat, 1 egg. You can take either a cup of cooked rice or quinoa, take about a half a cup of Italian breadcrumbs, add in some Italian seasoning, salt and pepper, mix that all together. If you've got some open sauce, add in about a tablespoon of spaghetti sauce. Take that meat mixture, pile it into those boats, put them in the oven at about 350 to 375. Probably take about 20 to 30 minutes, depending upon the size of your zucchini as well as how much meat you have in there. About the last 10 minutes, pull them out, and the fabulous cheese that you have on sale this week, the Hellendale, take that shredded cheese. You can use the mozzarella, even be adventurous and try the cheddar, Kojak, whatever. Put that on top for about the last 10 minutes. Pull them out. Get your favorite marinara sauce. The roasted garlic bread that's on sale this week, slice that down. Even if you want to put some butter on that, top that off with a little bit of cheese, pop that back in the oven at about 375 to 400. You got a great meal.
It's wonderful. That's a meal right in itself, and it's a balanced meal. And, well, see, I have never stuffed I guess the Italian in me always thinks better fry it. Or we put it over pasta, just roasted. I never stuffed one before. I need to try that.
Well, even our family favorite is the stewed zucchini, right? Slice it up, put it in some of your favorite sauce. You've got the onions and mushrooms on sale this week. Add that in if you're a vegetarian. That's and have that with the crusty bread. You're set to go. And the same with the vegetables. Chop them up, put them in a little bit of olive oil, put them on the grill. Those vegetables are fabulous for grilling.
Yeah, that'd be a great that's a great meal, and actually would make a nice side dish for a burger if you made it too.
Let me ask you, Diane, when you go grocery shopping, do you go with the thought process of what you're going to be cooking the upcoming week, or do you just buy what you usually use as far as ingredients when you're cooking?
I'd have to say it's a combination, Rob. I mean, with the great sales that Coons has, it's hard to not look at those items and be like, oh, it's great savings, it's fresh produce, what can be there. And of course with the family, everybody's like, oh, I feel like having this week. So then that becomes part of the grocery list, and then there's always those last minute changes, right? It's like when you go out to eat, you think you're going to a restaurant to eat something, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, that sounds good, So, but yeah, I mean, the freshness of everything, trying to capture the seasonal vegetables, even with the eggplant, you could slice those down, use those as circles and put the meat mixture on it, topping it off with probably a little bit more of the sauce. I mean, the asparagus, onions, and mushrooms, those are all great vegetables to be grilling up, stewing up, But, it's, in my house, it's a little mixture of everything.
The other thing you have to do when you go grocery shopping, and I don't really need to worry about it now because I'm a bachelor, but when my kids were small and I was at the grocery store every day buying an abundance of stuff, and you always tried to buy doubles of certain things that they like because you didn't want to run out. But you have to also be mindful that you don't buy stuff that's not going to get used, Frank. Just because it looks good, it's eye candy. You want to make sure, Diane, that you don't get something that there's a chance you may not end up using. And the last thing you want to do is throw anything out, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, Robin, you had parents that grew up in the Depression that they were really our key educators. They told you not to waste anything and try to make do with what you have. And it's that was one of the great life lessons that was learned for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I utilize, when I'm going grocery shopping, it's not usually a lot of times it's not a special trip. It's on the way home or on the way back from somewhere else or on the way back from work, or sometimes it's on the way to somewhere because you're going to be picking up a couple of things to go and for a party or whatever. And just not making those extra trips. That way you can go more often, keep your food nice and fresh. And also be mindful, it is summer too. So if you're going to be buying fresh meats and all that, and you're going to be at a store for a while for a longer drive, make sure you have a cooler with some ice or just the ice packs in there, because you don't want to turn any of that food bad. Even if you're not going to go bad, you are going to be shortening its life, its shelf life. So you want to keep that as fresh as possible.
No, that's a really good point, because it's so easy to forget about this transitioning from the cold weather into the warmer weather. And in no time, your car becomes a hot box. And
yeah, it's probably 10 degrees hotter in that car than it is outside.
Yeah.
Hey, Diane, great stuff. We love hearing from you. I hope you have a great week, okay?
Have a blessed week, gentlemen. Great show. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Listen, when I decide to hang up the microphone, that's the first call you make. She's really been such a bright light on this show.
Well, she'll put a nice spread buffet to it. You won't be able to enjoy it, but just know that your friends and family will be able to have a nice spread of food.
Listen, Frankie said if she's going to bring food, get rid of Pratt, man. She's going to bring the food. Hey, the other thing that I think people need to understand, like right now with the weekend that is Memorial Day a week away, we mentioned about the 2-day sale. You'll be hearing ads on KDKA, but you can get the flyer. You can go to coonsmarket.com. Now is when you plan what you're going to have for that Memorial Day picnic. And with the 2-day sale, if you're going to have more people over than normal, you can really save. So I would start thinking about mapping out my grocery list, and come Saturday morning when we open up, make sure you're in one of those 8 stores.
Yeah, and you can basically, whenever you're planning that way, you can also tell people what you're going to have. Sometimes you're enticing some extra people to come over, or some family that we're going to go here. Hey, but we're going to be having, like this week, we have the St. Louis ribs on the front page. And we're going to be having some, smoking some nice spare ribs if you want to stop by, but that planning also ends up saving you money because, yes, when we go in, I walk through most of our stores, the produce is near at the front or near the front. You walk through that produce, and you're going to see a big display of peppers or something like that, and some other ideas come up.
Right.
But normally that planning is going to give you the basis, and then you can fill in with the extras that you want around it. Okay. Also, being mindful of who's coming over.
All right, good stuff, Frankie. Let's get to a break. We'll come back. We've got Janet and Hopewell, Dennis in Jacksonville, Florida. We want to hear from you. Ground meat recipes. And what do you add to that ground meat when it comes to that burger? Maybe some chives, an onion, a pepper or two, just to give it a little extra life and to support that delicious ground meat. 866-391-1020. More of your calls next. Coons Cooking Hour.
Vote Julie Capone for judge of the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. Julie has spent decades protecting our seniors who've been victimized by fraud, theft, physical abuse. She pioneered home visits to seniors to get them through the trauma. It's no wonder Julie Capone is highly recommended by the Allegheny County Bar Association, endorsed by the Allegheny County Democratic Committee, the Allegheny Labor Council, numerous unions, and political and community leaders. Vote Julie Capone for judge of the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas.
This is Julie Capone. I'd be honored to have your vote on May 20th.
Paid for by friends of Julie Capone.
Larry Richard with legendary sports broadcaster Lanny Fratteri, who recently used Lachina Drapery and Blind Factory. Lanny, how'd it go?
Larry, Lachina made it easy. A great selection of quality materials, plenty of expert advice, and flawless installation. I've been around a lot of pros in my lifetime, and Lachina's the best game in town.
Call 412-665-4900 today for a free shop at home appointment. 412-665-4900.
Lachina Drapery and Blind Factory, the quality you deserve at factory direct prices.
Senator John Fetterman raised concerns about aggressive vehicle mandates, and he's right. Pennsylvanians need affordable, reliable transportation. No one should tell us what we can and can't drive. Mandates could limit consumer choice, raise costs, and threaten Pennsylvania jobs. Senator Fetterman can protect working families and defend our economy. Tell Senator Fetterman to stand up for Pennsylvania. Repeal the gas car ban. Take action at energycitizens.org. Paid for by the American Petroleum Institute.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Marty Griffin. I have seen so much angst and anger these days that, you know what's overwhelmed me with joy and optimism? This Get Marty. The folks in this community that have stepped up. You can't help your neighbor if you hate your neighbor. Get Marty epitomizes that opportunity to help people, feed people, clothe people, educate people. If you need me, Get Marty at KDKRadio.com.
Get Marty is presented by Phil DeLuceni and Associates, Levin Furniture, UPMC Health System, CNS Construction, John Keefe Restaurant Group of Oakmont, and by Robert Pierce and Associates. From the Aetna Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 61 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 8:30. I'm Rob Taylor. Pittsburgh police say overnight a 14-year-old was shot in the Southside Slopes. Shooting happened on Magdalen Street. Teenager found with gunshot wounds to the chin and chest. A teenager was transported to the hospital in critical but stable condition. Right now, unclear of any descriptions of any suspects. Also, a 16-year-old male was transported to the hospital in stable condition after being shot in the leg in the Hill District. Shooting happened Saturday evening in the 600 block of Perry Street. Multiple shell casings were found at the scene, and no word on any suspect descriptions in that shooting. And in Duquesne Saturday afternoon, a man is in stable condition after being shot in both legs. That happened around 12:30 Saturday afternoon in the 1100 block of Cherry Alley. That's in Duquesne, as mentioned. And as far as suspect descriptions, no word on that as well. Well, Pope Leo XIV's inauguration mass was held at St. Peter's Square, and CBS News reporter Sabrina Castelfranco has more details.
Pope Leo XIV first made his debut tour of the square in an open-top Pope-mobile, blessing a cheering crowd, waving American, Peruvian, and Vatican flags. Then during the Mass, in his homily, Leo said he wanted to be a servant to the faithful through the two dimensions of the papacy, love and unity.
And in Palm Springs, California, police are investigating after a person was killed in an explosion outside of a fertility clinic. Here's CBS's Christian Benavidez.
Several federal agencies, including the ATF and FBI, are investigating the blast. Attorney General Pam Bondi said she's been briefed on the incident and wrote in a statement, "We are working to learn more, but let me be clear. The Trump administration understands that women and mothers are the heartbeat of America. Violence against a fertility clinic is unforgivable." Christian Benavidez, CBS News.
KDK Radio News Time is 8:32. The AccuWeather forecast coming up.
Hello, this is Sarah Botkin of Botkin Family Wealth Management, where I work with my dad Les and brother Lester. I was out of town when I got the shocking news that a car accidentally crashed through our building into Dad's office, destroying his desk. Thankfully, Dad wasn't there and the driver wasn't hurt. When I called Dad, he was upbeat, saying, "Everyone's all right and repairs start next week." Dad went outside and changed our sign to read, "Now with drive-through service." He quipped, "Hey, we could make a commercial about people being so excited to invest with us, they're driving into our building." I think what I love most about my dad is his ability to stay calm and positive. I had my share of fender benders as a teen, and I recall with gratitude that Dad was always pretty darn loving and matter-of-fact. His uplifting attitude can be felt by all of us here at Botkin Family Wealth, and it's an asset in our work. We help our clients avoid making emotional investment decisions. Is there a hole in your financial plan like there's a hole in our building? We can help you fix it. Visit us at botkinfamilywealth.com.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this important announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-384-7878. 800-384-7878. 800-384-7878.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
For the second half of this weekend, expect breezy conditions today with sunshine, some clouds around, and a high of 70, with mostly clear skies in store for tonight on the way to a low of 49, leading to a rather sunny day for tomorrow with a high of 67. Clouds do return on Tuesday with some showers around late or at night, high 69. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following program is paid for by Coons Quality Market. The diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Oh, my. I'm looking at this ad for the French's mustard that we have on sale coming up during the 2-day sale. Everybody loves mustard on those hot dogs and hamburgers. French's yellow mustard, 20-ounce bottles, 2 for $3. Do you know how many bottles of mustard I have in my house right now? At least.
Not many, because you eat a lot of it.
Listen. They're probably wondering here at the station.
Well, you brought your groceries the other day. I didn't see any mustard in there.
Oh, yeah, I had Heinz.
So you still have some?
Yeah, I had Heinz. I get Heinz or French's. That's it. Well, here's the thing. They're probably wondering here at KDK, why is there so much mustard here at KDK all of a sudden? I have to have mustard with my Snyder of Hanover pretzels, but in my house right now, there are at least 7 or 8 bottles of mustard that have been untouched. I have to have at least a supply for a week.
Well, you never know whenever that, like we had the pandemic, what would you do? So you got to stock up.
Listen, somebody that I used to care about when I moved out, a couple of years later, she said to me, by the way, we just finally ran out of mustard today. I used to stockpile this stuff, Frank. I got to have my mustard. And, the Heinz chili sauce, the cocktail sauce, that's all suitable for dipping, all that stuff. I love it all. And raw vegetables from Coons Market, the produce department.
I agree. Like raw vegetables, usually I'm using ranch dressing or just marinate them in Italian dressing.
Frank, I'm telling you, mustard with cauliflower, with broccoli, I'm telling you, it's really good, and there's no calories in it either.
Well, even if I want, to have like hummus, so I don't get a chip or anything like that, I'll get the seedless cucumbers. I replace them with the potato chips. And you dip that in the hummus, you can pick any different flavor you want, and it's a lot better for you. The cucumbers, number one, they're about 75% water, but they're good. They don't taste funny after you eat a bunch of them. Like celery starts to taste funny. Mm-hmm. The cucumbers just have a great flavor. It's refreshing, and you can enjoy the hummus and not add. You get the calories from that, some protein from that, and you don't get the extra calories from what you're dipping in there. And it keeps your salt contents down. Even especially if you make your own hummus, you can control what's in there. It's just it's refreshing. So there's a lot you can do to be healthier. And vegetables and fruit are the one way that you can really cut calories and stay fuller.
The best, and it's got the crunch factor. And there's another thing you'll never find me without: pickles. I'm going.
Yeah, I like pickles, chips. And they have these good ones. Boar's Head has a horseradish. It's like a sweet horseradish pickle chip. So it's like a horseradish with bread and butter one. Obviously, you can't eat a lot of them because when the sugar starts, they'll just eat you up. But boy, they have a nice flavor. They have that sweetness and that tang of that horseradish. It's incredible.
Delicious.
You know, but just a regular dill one of those. Remember the whole pickles that you get? We still sell them in the delis. The Boar's Head carries them.
Ooh.
And you can just get them right out of the jar. And that whole pickle and just has a great flavor.
Heinz got a pickle ketchup out now.
I saw that.
It's good. I have it at my house.
Had you tried it?
Have I tried it? I think.
Did you dip pretzels in it?
Have you looked at the stock lately? It's gone through the roof. I love it, Frank. I absolutely
I'll have to try
it.
that one. I haven't tried that one. I tried a pickle hummus, but I haven't tried that.
I love it. All right, here we go. Let's take care of some of these calls. If you have a ground meat recipe, call us now. You may be taking home a $25 gift certificate. Here's Janet on KDKA. Go ahead, Janet.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My recipe with ground meat is palufki, or some people call wrapped cabbage, but I grew up, my grandma making this all the time. And it's not that hard to make, but one of the tricks that she used, and especially she made them at the church, when they had their cells and stuff, and she told me that what they did to make so many of them is they took the head of cabbage and they froze it overnight so they could freeze, like in their big freezer, like 20, 30 at a time. And then in the morning they would take it out and thaw it out, and then they didn't have to boil the cabbage, which saved them a lot of time. So I do that with mine, and it's so much easier because the boiling is what takes the most time. So then all you need is I get a pound of ground beef and a half a pound of pork. I cut up about a medium-sized onion, a clove of garlic, and a cup of rice, and I use an egg and some salt and pepper. And what's nice about the recipe is you can't mess it up. If you like more rice, you could add more rice. If you don't want the pork in there, you could just add a little bit more ground beef. But you mix it all together, and then and it's a little bit practice. I mean, the first time around your hook, you may not be rolled correct, but over time, I made them for graduation, and everybody loved them. And it was only my second time making them, so you learn real fast how to roll them. But you basically just roll them into like a little roll. I like to make mine really big so somebody can eat one and be happy with it instead of wanting a couple more. Just roll it into a big roll, mix everything together, and then it's just like kind of wrapping a baby. You just roll it and you tuck the ends in, and then what I do is I get just tomato sauce, tomato soup. I don't use tomato sauce, tomato soup, and I get a roaster pan, and I put a layer on the bottom of the pan, and then I just lay my wrapped cabbage. And usually I make a lot, so I double or triple the recipe. And then I just put some tomato sauce, or excuse me, not tomato sauce, tomato soup on top of that. And I put it in the oven, set it for 350 for about an hour. And what's nice is you could freeze them, you could give them to your neighbors, but they're wonderful.
Yeah, they are, and a great tip. I agree with putting it in the freezer. Yeah, it's going to get soft enough to be able to roll without a problem. And sometimes if the stems are too thick, that seam down the middle there, you just take your knife flat and cut it long ways to get a little bit thinner. And it's actually perfect. Yes, they're a pain.
Put it in the freezer.
They can be a pain, but the taste of them just bypasses all that. They're worth it. It really is.
Once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad, because I've been asked to make it for graduation parties. And,
that's the problem. See,
it's kind of fun in a way.
Once you make them, so you have to make 100 because everyone else doesn't want to. So you get plenty of practice.
Yeah, that's right.
And getting how much making the size right for to stuff them and doing that, and then obviously the right size of cabbage, because if you're going to make a bigger one, you need to get that bigger cabbage.
And I used to always think it was tomato sauce they put in there, but it's tomato soup.
Yep.
And then the grease from the meat mixes with it. You get that juice over it. It's really good.
Yeah, no, the tomato soup is what actually makes that sauce so perfect.
Right, but you can't mess it up. I mean, you honestly cannot mess it up. I mean, and if you don't like as much rice, just add a little bit more ground beef. Sometimes, depending on the size of the egg, I might add 2 eggs just to get it more, moister. So it's just trial and error, but it's a good meal, and you can have it for several days, and even, put them in the freezer, and a month from now have another one or two.
They freeze very well.
Yes.
All right,
thank you,
Janet. Thank you for the call. All right, let's go to Dennis. Dennis, couple of minutes before the break. All yours. Go ahead. Good morning.
Sure. Good morning, guys.
I got a recipe for Italian macaroni and beef. Great dish. What we do, we brown 1.5 pounds of ground round. I also then, in a separate skillet, will do 1 large onion sliced, 1 green pepper. Saute that, add the ground beef to that, and what we include then is 1 can of tomato sauce, 1 can of crushed tomatoes, and also I think I did not include 1 green pepper sauteed with that. Have that cook low, simmering, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. Have that continue to cook for another 20 minutes or so. I like the larger macaronis. I use tortellini. So about 1.5 cups of tortellini, boiling that. Then at the end, when your meat mixture is completed, you add the tortellini to the mixture. Mix. You're done. What is great with also is adding a little Parmesan cheese on the top when you're serving it. A good dish.
Excellent.
Nice.
I go heavier on the Parmesan. I'm just a cheese fiend, though.
I know. You know what I saw yesterday, and I'd forgotten, but there are a couple of pizza places in this region. They basically cook the pizza with the sauce, and if you want pepperoni, so be it. But then at the end, they take ice-cold shavings of provolone cheese and drop on top of the pizza, the square cut, Sicilian. And there are a couple of people that are famous for it, DeCarlo's in West Virginia, police station, of course, in Ambridge. And to me, that's still a great way to eat pizza. I love provolone.
People rave about it. I've never had it like that, where you cook the pizza first and put the cheese on last. I never had it that way.
Well, I'll tell you, you make it to either one of those places, you can do that. And you said you were just in Elwood City, and Vinny's Pizza, they can do it for you in Elwood City.
See, I'll have to stop down there now. I got to take a look.
You're going to love that place.
I like Elwood City. Driving through there. I love those small towns. That's why I've always liked Sewickley, and now, driving through Elwood City, Zealand Opal again, up driving through there now. And, there's just great little towns. I'm glad they're not dead. They're thriving out there. They're thriving.
Yep, Lawrence Avenue in Elwood's thriving, and Zillionople, forget about it, one of the best little towns anywhere. All right, short break. We'll come back. One more segment. Lines available for the first time in a while, so if you've been trying to get through and couldn't, now's the time. Ground meat recipes, meatballs, meatloaf, burgers, tacos, and more. Share some of your thoughts, and you may be taking home a $25 gift certificate from Coons Market.
Every Tuesday morning at 7:20, listen for Inside Independence Health, a look at all things healthcare with the experts from Independence Health System. It's brought to you by Independence Health System. Expert care here.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Book your stay at the Landing Hotel at Rivers Casino. Enjoy free valet parking and breakfast while being right in the heart of all the action. Whether it's a weekend getaway or a staycation, they have you covered. Book today at thelandinghotelpgh.com. Registration is now open for the 2025 Richard S. Caligiuri City of Pittsburgh Great Race, presented by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. One great weekend takes place the last Saturday and Sunday of September. From the 5K to the 10K to the Dollar Bank Junior Great Race, there's a start line for everyone. Details at KDKA-radio.com. If you're over 60 and looking for a weight loss program built specifically for you, Awaken 180 is your solution with Awaken 180 Golden, a new 1 to 3 month program for fast weight loss tailored to those over 60. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Details at KDKA-radio.com.
Hey folks, Marty here. What's a 4-letter word for indoor-outdoor cleaning? It's COIT, C-O-I-T. Save 30% off all COIT cleaning services from my friends at COIT. Carpets, rugs, drapes, upholstery, outdoor porch and patio furniture, and more. Get everything amazingly COIT clean for the warm weather. Call COIT. Save 30% right now. 1-800-FOR-COIT. 1-800-FOR-COIT. Get your home cleaned by the best. COIT.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
The diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, Frankie, give me some other picnic ideas, and let's kind of do some of the entrees, and we'll do a couple of the appetizers. We'll do some desserts. So give me some ideas. Go ahead.
Well, your homemade salads, making a nice potato salad or macaroni salad, or, sprucing it up a little bit. So if you're making your potato salad, for instance, add some bacon, some cheddar, some sour cream. You got a loaded baked potato salad. We always forget about, we think about hot dogs and hamburgers and such, but we always forget about the simple pasta salads or side salads that you can make. And, again, a simple pasta salad. So you make a pasta salad with the rotini, a little bit of Italian dressing. You add your veggies in, whether it's peppers, tomatoes, whatever. Add some pepperoni. Give it that little extra bite. That's something a little bit different. And keeping them cool, if you're going out to where it's going to be hot and you're at a picnic and you don't have refrigeration, making sure that you bring enough ice. People have a lot of great desserts too, whether you make a cake or you have a nice pudding or something like that. I always remember, I don't know what to call it, but it was always a Cool Whip. Basically, I call it a Jell-O and Cool Whip recipe. But the best part was, and you would like this, the pretzel crust on the bottom.
Oh.
You make that pretzel crust. You know which one I'm talking about. Then there's the gel and the whipped cream on top. And so a lot of times it's with strawberries and the flag. Those kind of things. Or just a banana cream, the banana pudding with the vanilla wafers on top. Something simple like those are great for picnics, and keeping things simple so that you have the whole point of the picnic is not because you want to gorge out on food. It's because you're out there with family or friends and enjoying the day, and a day where you're not working, things are closed, so that you can be able to have that enjoyment and be able to relax for the day in some hopefully nice weather on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, when you think about the gathering of the family, this is the time that you actually want to prepare the food, but you want to sit down and eat the food. You do the paper plates. It's easy. Throw away a little hefty bag. Don't be thinking about you have to prepare with, linen and china and silverware. Picnics, or even though people cook outside with utensils and actually ovens as good as they have on the inside in their kitchen, the bottom line is it's supposed to be family fun, whether you're under a shelter at a local park or hanging out at an amusement park or just doing something in the backyard on a small charcoal grill. It's about spending time with family and just relaxing.
Yeah, it really is. Don't stress over it. It isn't supposed to be something stressful. It's fun. This is something that's a relaxing time. So, making it simple, if, you have something that you're going to be making special, making sure other people are bringing sides or whatever, and then making, and keeping things simple. Paper plates, plastic forks, even the old plastic tablecloth that goes over, foil on the grill. If you don't want to, we don't have to worry about cleaning it afterwards, keeping that, or foil underneath the charcoal if you're using charcoal grill, because that way you can take the charcoal out and it's not too much scraping or anything because it's got to go back in your car. Those kind of things, making sure it's simple for everybody. Everything's paper and plastic disposable. You wrap it up and you throw it away. That way there's no cleanup. And it makes it a lot easier. Plus nothing's breaking and all that, and you don't have to worry about it. Even in the backyard, I know you'll be at home, but get the paper plates and plastic forks. It's old school, but it's also easy to clean up, and no one's worrying about that part.
Yeah, here's something else, too. I didn't know that Blue Bunny, who has a delicious ice cream, actually makes bomb pops. And with 2-day sale in your mind, here's what you got, right? In time, red, white, and blue, 2 in color. 12-count package, 2 for $5. And Nestle drumsticks as well, 8-count, 36.8-ounce box, $4.99. This 2-day sale is such an event that everybody wants to get their hands on the flyer, start checking things off, marking things down, get your list ready, and get in there this Saturday and Sunday. And we're doing it at all 8 locations just in time for Memorial Day. And a lot of people picnic all weekend long, Frank.
Yeah, how can we forget popsicles?
I know. Can't forget popsicles.
You can't forget popsicles or the ice cream sandwiches. That was always my favorite growing up. Ice cream sandwiches. Good Humor, was usually the brand you were picking up. We sell a lot of things, and don't forget cleanup too. Like for our 2-day sale, we're going to have the Scott. We have the bath tissue. Actually, I thought that was the paper towels. We have the bath tissue though, $4.99 for a 12-count double roll. Those kind of little things that, you don't think about on a picnic, but, we have some extra sales items. Tasty Cake donuts, the variety of Tasty Cake donuts, those 9.5 to 11.5 bags of donuts, $1.88 each, Powerade.
Oh,
so you have people that don't want pop. You don't want to drink pop. We have Powerade because, if you're outside and it's warm, you're going to need some electrolytes, and some Powerade 28-ounce bottles are 79 cents each, which is an incredible deal. And a lot of these deals, they're hard to find now. It's really hard because prices have gone up in places, but if you come to Coons, you can save some money, and a lot of our stores are smaller in size, which makes it also very easy to shop. And if you're ever looking for some extra help and can't find something, come over to customer service or find one of the stock people around any of our departments in the delis, meat departments. You'll always find somebody there working, and ask. We'll guide you over to the right way.
And everybody likes a little splash of heat when it comes to their wings and different types of meats. Well, guess what? We've got this unique brand you're going to want to try during the 2-day sale. Texas Pete Hot Sauce, 12-ounce bottles, 2 for $3. Why do you think people like the high heat? Why do you think they like heat, Frank, when it comes to
challenge? It's a challenge. People make it look like I can eat. You pay for it later. But actually, a lot of people get used to the heat, so you're always getting something a little bit hotter. And that vinegary taste. If you think about something like horseradish vinegar, your mouth actually starts to water a little bit just thinking of it. And I think that's part of it, too, that vinegary taste in the background.
But, the one thing that I notice that everybody loves is the perfect proportion of cheese on their burger. That's why the 2-day sale of Kraft American Cheese Singles, 10.7 to 12-ounce packages, 2 for $4, is perfect. You simply peel and drop. No fuss, no muss. You don't have to slice it up. You don't have to sprinkle it on there. That one little slice of Kraft American cheese in that plastic that you unfold so beautifully gives you just the right amount of flavor.
I'm always 2 slices of cheese. Always 2 slices.
I'm 4.
Cheese.
2 on the burger, 2 in my mouth. All right.
And the Kraft American that, melts perfect.
Oh. Listen, I've been known to sit there with a pack of that stuff and a bottle of mustard, peel, squirt, eat.
Wrap it around the pretzel.
I'm telling you. All right, we're going to take a break. And I used to eat provolone, honestly. I'd go to Coons Market and hope I'll get 2 pounds. I could actually eat a half a pound of provolone with crackers at home by myself.
Definitely. Remember the kashkavala my dad had you have, that sharp provolone.
Ooh, that was delicious. All right, we're going to come back to all this week's winners. Stay with us. Next hour, storm-related questions, tree-related questions, the best, Carlos McClintock, Greater Pitt Tree Service, as we roll on for a Sunday morning at KDKA.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Executive Director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, Rich Fitzgerald, encompassing 10 counties and City of Pittsburgh. As usual, let's start at the airport because you were just there again, and you're saying they're making major progress.
Yeah, I think the report today proved 92, 93%, and it looks absolutely beautiful.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
Have you been told there's nothing that can be done for your neuropathy? Tri-State Neuropathy Centers is pleased to tell you that is not true. As one of the largest and most successful neuropathy treatment practices in the country, Tri-State Neuropathy Centers has grown to 9 regional centers and helped over 14,000 patients, like Janie from West Homestead. Janie's neuropathy pain limited her activities to where she couldn't stand long enough to cook a meal. She feared she might need a wheelchair. Then Janie found Tri-State Neuropathy Centers. Their effective FDA-approved treatment program greatly improved Janie's neuropathy, and she considers her decision to use Tri-State Neuropathy Centers as a wise investment in her health and future. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers helped Janie, along with thousands of others. Let them help you next. Call 724-940-9000. That's 724-940-9000. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy.
Did you know that now you can listen to all your favorite stations, including this one, shows, and even podcasts, all on the Odyssey app? Download it now.
The diet can continue Monday. This is the Coons Cooking Hour on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Now hear this, giant two-day sale this weekend, May 24th and 25th, Coons Market. Also, Fresh Express coleslaw mix or garden salad, 12 to 14-ounce bags, 4 for $5. And Woolly Small Shrimp Ring Delicious, 10-ounce package, $3.99. It's all happening this Saturday and Sunday. Two-day sale, Coons Market. How do you find the one nearest you? Click on coonsmarket.com. This week's winner of that $25 gift certificate is Frank.
This week's winner is Janet in Hopewell.
All right, so next week we'll be getting you ready for Memorial Day, picnic time. Listen, I love a good steak as much as the next person, and I love all the stuff you can do in aluminum foil, the ears of corn, the veggies, and what have you. But I will take this with me the rest of my time on this earth. There's nothing like a good hamburger and hot dog.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Nice, delicious hamburger or, hot dogs. Can't underestimate a hot dog. You get some nice toppings on there. Me, it's onions and relish and a little bit of mustard.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I have a special place in my heart for Silver Star. I think it's one of the best hot dogs going. It's local, and they sell it at the ballpark, the stadium, so you can't go wrong.
They have their super dogs. They're a quarter-pound hot dog. Excellent. Excellent. Of course, their casing wieners, they're just a standard here.
Listen, I remember when we used to boil hot dogs as kids growing up, but I'll tell you one step further. My dad turned me on to eating hot dogs cold. Not even cooked.
I did that a few times as a kid.
Listen, when you're hungry, it'll hit the spot, believe me. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon, okay?
Have a great day.
Next week, we're talking outdoor party foods, grads, Memorial Day, Dad's Day, all that good stuff. So stay with us for that. But when we come back, get on the line right now. Your tree-related questions, especially storm cleanup. Carlos McClintock, Greater Pitt Tree Service. But right now, it's Rob Taylor in the news at 9 on KDKA. It's your Pratt Pack. Good morning.
The preceding program was paid for by Coons Quality Market.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 60 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 9 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. A man is in critical condition after being struck by a train late Saturday night on the south side. It happened around 11 o'clock around South 12th Street and Wesley Street. The man suffered a cut to the head. Norfolk Southern, the company that runs the train that struck the man, is leading the investigation this morning. Also, Pittsburgh police now say it was a 13-year-old who was shot overnight in the Southside Slopes. The shooting happened on Magdalen Street near Oporto Street. Teenager was found with gunshot wounds to the chin and chest. The 13-year-old was transported to the hospital in critical but stable condition. Right now, it's unclear if any suspect descriptions have been released. Also, in the Hill District, a 16-year-old male was transported to the hospital after being shot in the leg. That happened around 6 o'clock in the 600 block of Perry Street Saturday evening. Multiple shell casings were found at the scene. No word on any suspect descriptions. This just into the KDK radio newsroom. At least 2 people are dead after a Mexican Navy ship crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge. Here's CBS News New York reporter Zena Maldonado.
Officials telling us that there was nearly 300 people on board this ship while it was sailing here along the East River before colliding into the Brooklyn Bridge. Mayor Eric Adams telling us that 19 people were injured. 2 of those remain in critical condition this morning, while 2 others have died. Now, officials also mentioning that all of those that were injured on board this ship. No one fell into the water.
The 33rd Coleman More Than Pink Walk occurring this morning at Shenley Park. A walk, which was formerly known as the Race for the Cure, is aimed at raising money, awareness, and support for a cure for breast cancer. Opening ceremonies are beginning in just a few moments, where breast cancer survivors will be honored and inspiring stories of resilience will be shared. That's followed by the walk at 9:30. organization hoping to raise $500,000 for breast cancer research. KDKA Radio News Time is 9:03. The AccuWeather forecast coming up.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensated for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it, and the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today brings a bit less warmth with breezy conditions, sunshine and some clouds at times, and a high of 70, followed by mainly clear skies tonight and a low of 49, ahead of a mostly sunny day tomorrow with a high of 67. Clouds return Tuesday, along with showers late in the day or especially at night with a high of 69. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is paid for by Greater Pitt Tree Service. Information on the program is intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information aired on the following program.
These are the people, the movers and shakers, the businesses, the people you know in your community who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
You know, what a timely guest once again. He is the pro. He's the expert. Been working overtime. He and his crew doing a great job getting rave reviews because of their courteous, fast, and getting people back to normal when it comes to that storm that really swept through this area. What an incredible time it has been over the last few weeks for Greater Pitt Tree Service. Carlos McClintock is here today. So here's what I'm going to throw out to you, the audience. So if you're dealing with cleanup, still need to get things done, you need to give us a call, 866-391-1020. But it is blooming, meaning spring is underway, and we're now heading towards Memorial Day weekend. The heat of the summer is almost here, and that means all the infectious diseases and things that can destroy those beautiful trees that mean so much to you because of what they do to the landscape, that is your home. So if you have any general tree-related questions, now's the time to call. Free advice, you simply dial this number, 866-391-1020, and you will be on the air with us immediately. And you can also get a hold of them at 412-884-TREE, 412-884-TREE, or 412-884-8733, 412-884-8733. And you can call during the show and leave your information. They will get back to you. So storm-related questions, and also as we head to Memorial Day weekend and the summer months ahead, any tree-related questions, now's the time to talk to the expert, Carlos McClintock, 866-391-1020. So, Carlos, I've been thinking a lot about you, and I know you guys have been working overtime, but here's the question that a lot of people may not be thinking about. Okay, so you see the tree that was knocked down, or sadly maybe like laying up against your house or on top of your roof. But what about trees that look okay but could have been damaged by this storm? Isn't it a good idea, especially if you've invested a lot of money and time in these trees, if there's a possibility that maybe a tree could have been injured, splintered, or maybe damaged to the point that it'll start a slow death? You really need to get Troy there, to get your company there, and make sure that these trees are healthy to move forward. Correct? And good morning.
Good morning. Yes, that's a great point. You know, we get calls 3, 4, 5 days later after that initial storm. I mean, that storm that came through a couple weeks ago was maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes long. but the effects of it are going to be over a long time now because, you know, a tree that fell might have hit a standing tree and split it, and it's still standing, but then, you know, gravity and physics take over, and you're not expecting it on a nice sunny day. We actually get more calls on a nice sunny day that a limb or a tree fails, we call it, because of, you know, certain things like that. It might have been damaged, and it's just time for that big lead to break, or for the root ball might have been, you know, a little bit disturbed, and now it's kind of on borrowed time. So great idea to get us out there, take a look at your property after these last couple big storms and see if we could see anything that maybe you don't spot.
All right, let's talk about broken limbs. And is it normal, and when does it look like it's a problem? Also, why is examining the crown so important, and evaluating wound sizes? And when you mean wound sizes and wounds, what are we talking about? That first, Carlos.
Yeah, great point, too. You know, when these branches shear off from the wind, it's not a clean cut. So you have kind of a big shard up there, and it's exposed. So now it could be susceptible to carpenter ants, termites. It's a good idea for us to get out there and go up and make a clean cut on it. You know, that'll prevent some other things from spreading to the tree. So, yeah, get us out there. We can assess it, look at it. It all depends on the species of the tree, too. You know, it's case by case. Some trees are resilient, like anything in the maple family. And then you got some oak trees that I always say you can look at an oak tree wrong and kill it. So if you've had some broken limbs on an oak tree, you know, it's a good idea for us to get out there, make the clean cuts. It'll prevent certain things, maybe like oak wilt disease from seeking out that tree with an open wound.
All right, I want to talk a little bit more about crown interactiveness, and at least 50% of the tree's crown, branches, and leaves still intact. If not, the tree's survivability will be reduced. So looking at the crown and explaining what the crown is, why that's so important.
Yeah, the crown's very important. I mean, that's usually the first thing we visually look at to assess a tree. Is that growth traveling through the root system, up through the trunk, and reaching that upper canopy to keep that healthy? You know, if you're out there looking at your trees and you see some dead up in the top canopy, upper canopy, you know, there's definitely something probably going on with that tree. It could be something as simple as the age of the tree. You know, there's shelf lives of yard trees that are planted. Maybe it's just, you know, getting to that point, or maybe something else is going on with it. So we get out there and do a little bit more investigating and get Troy out there with all the knowledge he has, and we could figure out what the best plan of attack is. Do we feed it? Do we treat it? Is it just old and outgrew its coverage area? Is it time to get it out of there? A lot of options.
So if you have a tree-related question, and especially if you're dealing with storm-related issues, now is the time to call. All of our lines are open. Carlos here for his every other week get-together with us on Sundays at KDKA in the 9 o'clock hour. You'll get immediate access if you give us a call, 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020. You know, one of the things in all the weeks we've been doing this show that we've never talked about, and it's good to talk about it now because of the storm that we just went through. What about bark damage? Has the tree experienced significant bark loss, which can make it vulnerable for disease and pests? So is this kind of like the tree's skin? Explain the bark and its purpose. Go ahead.
Yeah, you hit it right there. I mean, that's what covers the inside of the tree, and you know that, and like you said, a lot of that can be susceptible to termites, carpenter ants. You know, you can go out and do that initial visual inspection, but a lot of times there's, you know, maybe something we might see. There's a lot of times something might be boring into your tree, and the holes are pretty small. They're hard to spot. So we get out there and we do like full investigation of what's going on with that tree, figure out if there's any issues with the bark, and the best plan of attack to address it.
Carlos McClintock, Greater Pitt Tree Service. Now, here's something very important when you are basically walking around the perimeter of your home. Tree posture. If a tree is leaning or toppled, that could be a serious issue and danger waiting to happen. Talk about a tree's posture and how do you approach it and what should you be looking for? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a tough one because, you know, over the years, a tree will grow out on an angle because it might be competing with another dominating tree. And so it's reaching out, it's growing out on an angle for sunlight. So we do get calls, you know, people say, I'm a little bit alarmed. This tree's jutting out on this severe angle. And we kind of figure out what's in that area, what it was competing for while it was growing, and try to assess it as best we can. But if you're looking down on the ground and maybe the root ball's a little bulbous, that's a sign that it's then it is leaning and pulling to one side or the other and lifting that root ball up. And then it's just a matter of time, the right gust of wind or just gravity and physics take over and the tree decides to fail and come down.
All right. For any other reason other than this, I would make the call to Greater Pitt Tree Service. He stands by the customer, helps them negotiate and navigate all of the things that they experience. So firsthand, a couple of friends have mentioned this to me, so I'm going to ask you because nobody punchbacks better because you understand the rules of the road. I hear a lot of people are having a difficult time getting coverage from their insurance company, so many of them are getting thousands less than they've anticipated. And look, I'm not pointing fingers at any insurance agency. I'm not saying anything other than I'm bringing this up because when I have a number of people come up to me when I'm not on the air and talk about it, then I know that there must be a whole lot more in the radio audience, and they know of people like you, and they know how you stand by your customers, and you're willing to step up and help them work with the insurance company. So what happens if somebody's like, hey, I've been paying premiums forever on this home ownership, and I see what has happened here because of the storm damage. Look at my roof, look at my backyard, look at the shed that got crushed near the garage, and you're telling me you're going to give me $20,000 or $30,000 less than my policy says that I'm able to get, or you're saying it's not worth the amount of money that I need to fix it because of the estimates that I'm getting. What do people do when they're coming up short as far as the go-between when it comes to insurance policies and what they need to actually get the job done? Carlos.
Yeah, let's block off about 4 more hours for that topic. But just real quick, yes, it's frustrating. The knee-jerk reaction from the insurance company is, how can we pay as little as possible or nothing? That's their business model. So, it's a frustrating process. There's a lot of negotiations back and forth. They send out, independent adjusters that work for them. That's who they're getting paid by. So that adjuster's coming out to really pinpoint and just kind of black and white the situation when there's so much more going on the property. There could have been some initial damage to coverage A, which is your main dwelling, which is basically the value of your home. Your policy for coverage A, if your house is worth $300,000, then they could fix up to $300,000 worth of damage from trees falling on it. If it's more than that, then they'll probably total your house, just like a car accident. But you get into a lot of situations where we get called out in the middle of the night or the next day, and they're calling us. They're not my customers yet, and they're trying to call their insurance company. No one's answering. They can't get a hold of anyone. They're sitting there with a tree on their house for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. So it's a lot of frustration. There was a lot of tension between the insurance companies and the power being out. I was talking with Marty one day after the storm, and just a powder keg of frustration going on between everything, because you pay your bill every month, and you're under the impression if something happens, I have full coverage. Well, you kind of don't. You have percentages. If it's not your main dwelling, coverage A, if it's anything detached, a nice garage or a shed or a pool or a fence, you only get 10% of the value of that home on that. So a massive oak tree falls on a fence, it could be $10,000, $15,000 for us to come and remove it. Well, they're only paying you a couple $1,000s to fix the fence. Who pays for the rest? Why don't they cover that? Because that's coverage B. So a lot of people are finding out the hard way on where they stand in their insurance policy and what they're liable for.
All right, good stuff. Carlos McClintock is here. He is the man behind Greater Pitt Tree Service. If you have any questions, even some of these insurance issues that you're curious about, this is the guy that does this every day with his incredible crew. Call us. Storm-related cleanup, general questions for this time of year when it comes to those trees that are such a big part of beautifying your outdoor living space, and the aftermath of this storm that we continue to talk about weeks later. Love to hear from you. Easy access. It's 866-391-1020. We'll be back. Carlos McClintock, Greater Pitt Tree Service, in just a moment.
When you need to talk, we're here for you. Always have been. News Radio KDKA.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
All the news you need for your day and the sports, music, and podcasts you love are all on the free Odyssey app. Download now.
These are the people who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Listen, whenever I need this guy to come on to talk to the people, he's right there. Whenever you need him to be there, he's right there. His crew, incredible. They've been doing it second to none for years. You need to make the call if you're dealing with any of this stuff. 412-884-TREE. 412-884-8873. Before we take some calls here, Carlos, this insurance issue, people just need to understand, as you said, and you're being blunt, their business is to pay you as least amount of money as possible. But when you're going in, any idea or some ballpark thoughts on what people can do to make sure that they have more covered than not? How should somebody approach that? I mean, listen, we may have a first-time homeowner out there, a young couple getting ready to close on their very first house, and maybe they're listening to this show coming home from church services or breakfast or whatever and saying, I didn't realize that. I thought homeowners covered everything. Is there some general rules that people can follow to at least have a fighting chance?
Yes. I mean, like I said before, you should at least know the max of any coverage to fix anything associated with damage to your home. Tree falling, fire, rain, anything like that is going to be the value of the home. So that's kind of where the starting point is. But when a tree falls and hits the house, it becomes there's a lot involved in it. The insurance company has to pay us or any tree company to come out and extract that tree off of coverage A, let's call it. And then they only give you up to $500 per tree for the haul out. So a lot of times you're calling in and you're not real schooled on this, and you're telling the insurance person that you reach on the 800 number, hey, I got a tree on my house. And a lot of times it gets misunderstood. That person might say, well, you only have up to $500 to remove that tree. That's removing it off the property. The extraction cost of getting that tree off of the house, again, could be up to the value of the home. I mean, it's a little extreme case, but a lot of the removals we were doing those first few days were 10, 15, 20,000, 25,000. I mean, we're coming out with massive cranes and plucking these trees out of houses. There's a lot involved in it. It's very dangerous. And then after we get the tree off the house, that's when the other part of the claim kind of takes place. How much is it now to repair the damages from this home or from the tree hitting my home? The insurance company, they have to do what's called indemnify you. They have to make you whole pre-loss. So your house has to look exactly like it did before a triggering event, which was the storm, causing the damage to coverage A, your main dwelling. Now their job is to step up and indemnify you. Minus your deductible, they need to pay whatever it costs unless it's over the value of the home, but they need to indemnify you and make you whole. Your house and your property have to look exactly like it did before this storm. So then after we get the tree off the house, then they come out and assess the damage. It's a good idea to then call one of the local disaster restoration companies. We deal with 4 or 5 of the main ones in Pittsburgh. They come out and they actually make it as much of a seamless process as possible with your insurance company. They bill your insurance company for the cost of the repairs, and they submit a bill. The insurance company types it into their software, which they created. It's theirs. It's called Xactimate, and that software program kind of spits out what that market value and the comps in that area should be to repair a whole roof or to fix a gutter or to fix a fence or, whatever the damage in, it goes into a program called Xactimate, and they kind of come up with their price, their cost of it. Doesn't always translate to what a contractor's charging. So that's a lot of where the battle begins and starts and ends up in negotiations one way or another.
Well, this is why you need this guy, Greater Pitt Tree Service. Give us a call if you're dealing with any of this stuff, 866-391-1020. Here's John in Hampton Township for Carlos McClintock. Hey, John, how are you?
Good. How are you doing there?
Good. What's your question, sir?
Well, the question is during the storm that we had in, Hampton Township, trees fell to my property, and they belong to an HOA. So they fell on my property, and I understand that I am responsible for the trees, which, it's a huge pine trees, and they have, cage disease, and plus the roots are removed. So, long story short, I know I have to pay for it and everything else, but the question I have is, insurance claim adjuster came out 7 days later, and she finally gave me her findings. And one of them I found very strange was I had a 15-foot canoe was laying on my trailer, which was all smashed, and she said she would not cover the canoe because it's not in a storage shed or anywhere else. I don't have no room to put the 15-foot, aluminum canoe anywhere. It's several years old.
I know where you're getting with this, and this is what, I was touching on before. In your homeowner's policy, you have coverage on coverage A, which is the main dwelling. And then coverage B is anything detached from coverage A, like a shed, a garage, a above-ground pool, some of your hardscapes. So as far as the trailer and the canoe, you don't have canoe insurance. They're not liable to fix that canoe or replace it because you weren't paying anything in your premium that had to do with a canoe. You were paying for your homeowner's insurance. So this is when people find out the hard way what's actually covered on your homeowner's policy.
Right. Now, should it be a disclaimer in the policy itself? I'm being told that, hey, ask the insurance company and say, hey, let me see where it says it in the policy. And she says, well, I'll send it to you, but, she has not sent it to me at all. So,
the language in the policies, the language in the policy is very specific, and they cover themselves. That, again, I understand their business model, and they're going to fix what's insured that your premium is paying every month that they're insuring. So there's definitely language in that policy about instances like you're talking about, things on the property that aren't in, like she said, if it was in a shed or a garage, anything in that shed or garage that's damaged will be replaced or close to the cost of replacing it at a depreciated value. So, that's an uphill battle. You got hit on both ends. You had to pay to get someone else's tree cut off your property, and then you're losing the cost that you paid to buy the canoe, and you're going to have to replace that and buy a new one. So you got hit from a couple different angles.
Oh, that's not even. I can go explain many other things too, but then I'm being told that the adjuster is like the final say, so like a judge would. There's discrepancy what State Farm tells me, the agent, versus the adjuster. And I said, well, the United States claim agent said, yes, it should be paid for. But when she comes out, she says no. So I'm finding out, this is from State Farm. I don't know if I'm said it or not, but they're on like two different pages. So it's like, and I'm trying to not really argue, but upset a little bit with my agent. So what do you mean? You tell me something different, and she tells me this. It's blowing my mind away. It's like, wow.
All right, so what should he do? What should he do?
Well, until that adjuster came out, probably on your initial phone call when you described, damages and what got, smashed or whatever, not until that adjuster really came out and did that investigation. And he's correct. They're not going to cover that. And that's just how it is. It's something that a lot of people are finding out the hard way. And, if you understand your language in your policy and read it really well, it kind of preps you to understand in a case like this what is and what isn't covered. And, I feel for you. I appreciate the phone call, and if you need any tree work, give us a call.
Yeah, give them a call. But look, it's all these insurance agencies. Not that they're doing a bad job. They're doing a good job because in the most cases, they're making people whole. You just have to pay attention on what you sign up for because 9 times out of 10, when disaster strikes, that's what you're going to get. And Carlos McClintock is a guy that understands this stuff. So it's another reason why you're not getting this from a big box store, but you're getting from a homegrown kid who grew up in Greenfield who's been on the job doing what he does for decades now. Again, you can reach them at 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. But if you have a tree-related question, we're talking insurance issues, we're talking trees after the storm, taking care of your trees as we're heading into the summer months, now's the time to call. We have lines available, 866-391-1020. We'll be back.
$3.2 million for a power plant worker with mesothelioma. $3 million for the family of a steel worker who died from asbestos-related lung cancer. Another $3.8 million for the family of a steel worker with mesothelioma. These are just a few case results that Pittsburgh-based law firm Goldberg, Persky & White have been able to get for their clients. They can do the same for you. If you're suffering from lung cancer or mesothelioma, contact GPW for a free consultation at 1-800-COMPLEX or GPWLaw.com.
What happens when the power goes out at homes that have a standby Honeywell generator by Generac from AirPro Heating and Cooling? Absolutely nothing. Your power continues with a Honeywell generator from AirPro. Right now, save $1,000 when you buy a Honeywell generator from AirPro. Plus, get a free 7-year warranty on parts and labor. Call someone you know. Call the home generator experts at AirPro today. 800-749-0642. That's 800-749-0642.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain? Sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you visit urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know, let's try some antibiotics and nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Pittsburgh Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your chronic sinus infections. Set an appointment today with Pittsburgh Sinus Centers and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 724-903-8048. 724-903-8048. That's 724-903-8048.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want while you sleep. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. Wake up to your friends, weekday mornings on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. From the Aetna Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 61 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 9:30. I'm Rob Taylor. Pittsburgh police say an EMS vehicle with the city collided with a Subaru passenger vehicle Saturday night on East Carson Street. That EMS vehicle was heading to a call when the crash with the Subaru occurred. It happened around 11:30 p.m. Saturday night in the 1900 block of East Carson Street. The driver of the Subaru was trapped for a moment, but then was quickly removed. According to officials, he was not hurt. The investigation continues for that crash on the south side. Also on the south side, a man is in critical condition after being hit by a train. It happened around 11 o'clock around South 12th Street and Wesley Street. A man suffered a cut to the head. Norfolk Southern is the company that runs the train that struck the man. They are leading the investigation. KDKA Radio News Time is 9:31. Next updates at 10. I'm Rob Taylor on the Voice of Pittsburgh, News Radio KDKA.
Magnificent May savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. Save with your Coons Reward Card. St. Louis style spare ribs, $3.29 a pound. Whole seedless watermelons, $3.99 each. and selected varieties of Hillendale Farm shredded sliced or chunk cheese, 8-ounce packages, $1.77 each. Additional savings in our meat department. 93% lean fresh ground sirloin, $5.79 a pound. And USDA Choice PA Angus sirloin tip steaks or roast, $5.99 a pound. In the produce department, selected varieties of Little Leaf Farm salad greens, 4-ounce packages, 2 for $6. And jumbo Florida vine-ripe tomatoes, 99 cents a pound. In the deli department, Belgioso fresh mozzarella balls, 8-ounce packages, $3.99 each. And Coon's homemade bruschetta, $6.99 a pound. And this week, selected varieties of San Giorgio pasta, 12 to 16-ounce boxes, 99 cents each.
So get in on the magnificent May savings at Coons Market. Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this important announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-384-7878, 800-384-7878, 800-384-7878.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
For the second half of this weekend, expect breezy conditions today with sunshine, some clouds around, and a high of 70, with mostly clear skies in store for tonight on the way to a low of 49, leading to a rather sunny day for tomorrow with a high of 67. Clouds do return on Tuesday with some showers around late or at night, high 69. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is paid for by Greater Pitt Tree Service.
These are the people who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, just like that, we're halfway home with Carlos McClintock, Greater Pitt Tree Service. So if you have any tree-related questions, especially because of the recent storms, give us a call, 866-391-1020. And I use the word storm as in storms, plural, because we had the microburst or whatever you want to call it a couple of weeks ago, but we've been having storm after storm after storm, bringing a lot of high winds. So a lot of things happening and people saying, how could these massive trees that have been around for 100 plus years just be ripped out of the ground? Carlos, one of the things that I was going to ask you before we got a call, and by the way, anybody who has any tree-related question, you can call us now at 866-391-1020, or you can call his office at 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. But soil heaving, to where you notice around the base of the tree that the soil is lifting up on one side. So I don't know if there's any connection to why we saw such big trees fall, maybe soil heaving one of the problems, but how was it that these trees were just literally that quickly up and out and on the ground that had been around for 100 plus years? What happened?
That come down, they just had all, they have all their leaves on them. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of resistance, where if you can't see through a tree, then those leaves offer so much resistance from these high winds. And the winds that came in a couple weeks ago, they were no match for it. They just laid these big trees down. And a lot of these trees we saw in areas like Regent Square, all through Squirrel Hill, all these city of Pittsburgh trees or borough and township trees that are along the street, maybe in a patch of grass between the sidewalk and the street or right on the sidewalk, they're only anchored down by one side of roots, because the side of the tree that's facing the street or sidewalk, the roots kind of butt up against that, and they can't continue to branch out to anchor these big trees down. So when this storm hit, they're calling it a straight line storm. So it came from west to east, and a lot of these trees that fell down had that no root system on the side of the tree that the wind was pushing. So, it was easy pickings for this wind to blow down these massive trees. I mean, Regent Square looked like a war zone. It looked just like a bomb went off. I mean, one tree after another, through houses, across the street. And they were all these large sycamores and oak trees that don't have that root system around the whole perimeter of the tree, which you need on these big trees. And then, you're living there and you're looking at the tree and you're thinking like, hey, maybe I should get this, out of here, get it cut down. And you have to go petition the city or the borough or township, and they come out and they're like, well, it's a healthy tree. Yeah, it is healthy. It has a nice canopy and nice leaves and gives them that tree-lined street effect through these areas. But guess what? Now the other side of the coin kind of was exposed. When these big windstorms come through and there's only a root system on one side, now you got a tree coming through your house. So, and your house is your main investment. That's the average American. That's their biggest investment they're going to make in their life is purchasing a home, not to mention the safety of, you and your family in the home. And they're saying, well, you can't cut this tree down and because it looks good. Well, I mean, now hopefully they kind of switch up their, how they feel about trees like that.
Well, the other thing, too, from what I hear, there's some pushback to where people can't even remove trees that are down on their own property because it's certain rules of the road as far as street line trees are concerned, as far as shading purposes and what have you. So people can actually be told what to do when it comes to their own property. Make some sense of that. Is that true?
Yes, we just had an instance like this in Beaver, the nice residential district of Beaver, off the business district, big old 3-4-story houses with big yards, and they had these old trees in front of them. And this homeowner was just nervous about this big sycamore tree. It had a huge cavity in it. It was infested with bees. It's what we call a house crusher. And so, we gave them a price, and they said, well, we got to put in the application with the Shade Tree Commission to come out and see if we can remove our tree on our property. It wasn't in the sidewalk or along the street. It was in their yard. So the Shade Tree Commission in Beaver denied them the right to cut this tree down, that if it hits their house is irreplaceable. It's from the late 1800s or early 1900s. The craftsmanship and the materials don't exist to replace the damage this tree would cause to this home. I can and can't do on my property. I was really surprised at this case. Usually they usually, more times than not, they approve it. But this one, they're like, well, it's an old, beautiful tree, and it's been there a long time, and you're not allowed to remove it. So it's kind of crazy.
All right, listen, if you have any questions for Carlos, give us a call, 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020. Now, here's the other thing. Customers ask you if you can do it cheaper because they're afraid that their new premiums are going to be out of sight or they could even get their policy canceled. Explain that to me.
Yeah, and that's kind of, and I reply to that, I'm supposed to save $1 billion company a few $1,000s and lower my cost. Why should I be the one that has to go in my pocket or reduce my cost because of how these insurance companies operate? And people are like, wow, $20,000, I know it's going to happen. My premium's going to go up or they're going to cancel me. And I'm like, well, this is what it costs for me to come out with $1 million in equipment, 8 or 10 guys for the day to pull this tree out of your house. I'm not price gouging. I'm just telling you what the market value is and what it costs. And we're getting a lot of that from these customers because they're nervous. They know how the insurance companies operate. They might have had a claim before on the house. Now they have a second or third claim. And, it's just scary for these people to own a house and then be concerned on what kind of coverage they can get or how much it's going to cost to get this coverage. So, and there's just a lot in that topic. It's something we're very schooled at. We send an article to our customers when they call in that was published in Tree Care Industry Association magazine, which we're a member of, and it's entitled Misconceptions of Tree Damage and the Insurance Coverages. So we send that article to these people and let them educate themselves and learn the terminology and learn where they stand, because the insurance companies, they're they throw things out there, and sometimes you misunderstand it or don't, fully know what's going on. And, again, it's beneficial to them and not these homeowners, what they're telling these people.
All right, listen, if you have a tree-related question, we're going to get some calls here lined up, and we're going to take them in the final segment. So give us a call if you have any question. One more segment with Carlos McClintock. You're going to have to wait for a couple of weeks if you don't get it in today. So get that question answered by calling us at 866-391-1020 or call them and set up an appointment. You can call and leave your information now, 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. I've often thought because of the weather, look what happened in St. Louis and Wisconsin and Kentucky and Tennessee over the last couple of days. Over 20 people dead, massive storms, multiple tornadoes. The winds are swirling in such a strange way now, coast to coast. I've never seen the likes of it. I got to believe for people who live in a flood-prone area, we've talked about this many times when talking about insurance and protecting your home and restoration. If these storms don't start to head in a different direction or subside, I think there's going to be certain policy aspects of insurance and home ownership and homeowners that are going to be written into the policy just for trees and damage from trees. Carlos, I've never seen anything like we've experienced in the last couple of years here.
Yeah, and here's what they're doing now. I've been doing this a long time, and when somebody would buy a home and they go to get their homeowner's policy and they'd send someone out, or now they fly drones over the houses most times, but they come out and they say, oh, well, this tree's dead on your property. We want you to remove this dead tree before we write your homeowner's policy. And I understand that because pretty obvious that dead tree is going to fall and cause damage to what they're insuring. But now recently, the insurance companies are big on data and information and figuring out, how to mitigate their risk of paying out a big claim. So now a lot of people, when they're buying homes and going to get that homeowner's policy, they're telling people to cut down healthy trees, big, beautiful, healthy trees that are in proximity to the house if it were to fall, to cause damage, because the insurance company wants to mitigate their risk down to next to nothing. That's best case scenario for them. So, you're looking at this house and you're purchasing it and, you got a big oak tree and you picture your kids climbing it, or the shade it gives you, helps with your utility cost, and you go buy the home, and now the insurance company's saying, we're not writing you a policy until you cut that tree down, because they're just getting hammered all across the country with all these events that are happening, tornadoes, hurricanes, windstorms. So they're mitigating their risk right now.
All right, let me get a break in here. We'll take one. We'll come back on the other side. We're going to talk to Mike in Carnegie about fallen trees. Anybody else who has a question about trees, give us a call. 866-391-1020. 866-391-1020 is the number to dial. Carlos McClintock, Greater Pitt Tree Service, is here today. Give us a call. It's 866-391-1020, or you can call his office at 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733.
Honored to win the Marconi Award as the best news talk station in the country. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Larry Richard with legendary sports broadcaster Lanny Fratteri, who recently used Lacina Drapery and Blind Factory. Lanny, how'd it go?
Larry, Lacina made it easy. A great selection of quality materials, plenty of expert advice, and flawless installation. I've been around a lot of pros in my lifetime, and Lacina's the best game in town.
Call 412-665-4900 today for a free shop and home appointment. 412-665-4900.
Lacina Drapery and Blind Factory, the quality you deserve at factory direct prices.
Hello, this is Lester Botkin with Botkin Family Wealth Management, where I work with my dad Les and sister Sarah. I was out of town when I got the shocking news that a car accidentally crashed through our building into Dad's office, destroying his desk. Thankfully, Dad wasn't there and the driver wasn't hurt. When I reached Dad by phone, he was upbeat, saying, "Nobody's hurt and repairs start next week already." Dad went outside and changed our sign to read, "Now with drive-through service." He joked, "Hey, we could make a commercial about people being so excited to invest with us they're driving into our building." I think what I love most about my dad is his ability to stay calm and supportive. Years ago, I decided to leave college to join the Marine Corps. My family was a bit alarmed, except for Dad, who told me he was proud of me and that I would do great things. His positive attitude can be felt by all of us here at Botkin Family Wealth, and it's an asset in our work. We help our clients avoid making emotional investment decisions. Is there a hole in your financial plan like there's a hole in our building? We can help you fix it. Visit us at botkinfamilywealth.com.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 412-556-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 412-556-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 135 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Be a part of something new, exciting, and totally Pittsburgh. Join the inaugural Rockin' Regatta at Pittsburgh Brewing Company, June 7th and 8th. A brand new summer celebration packed with live music, river racing by Three Rivers Outboarding, local food, family fun, and more. Tickets on sale now at pittsburghbrewing.com/events.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
These are the people who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, I got some calls lined up for Carlos McClintock. Again, you can reach them at the office. You can actually call today, leave your information, and we'll get back to you. Stephanie working overtime to make sure all of the moving parts keep moving in the right direction. Doing a great job for Carlos. The number is 412-884-TREE, 412-884-8733. Mike in Carnegie. How you doing, Mike?
Hi, how you guys doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
Anyway, I got a question for Carlos, and maybe you as the radio host can even do some investigation on this. When a tree falls down, like I was telling the gentleman that answered the phone, Franklin Avenue in Carnegie, there was like 6 trees come down up from the Carnegie School. So they cut the tree down right to the edge of the road to the white line because it had already been on the road. They put 6 horses out around it. And if you come up that road or come down that road at night and don't see it, you could run right into half of the trunk of the tree. But apparently, they're only allowed to cut the tree to the edge of the white line of the road. Is that a rule or a regulation now? I remember years ago when they took a tree down, it was gone. You'd cut it up, chop it up, and it was out of there.
Yeah, that could be
You got any
case by
ideas?
case, Mike. Yeah, I was just going to say that could be case by case. I don't know where the tree fell from, but maybe it's on somebody's private property. And legally, they're only allowed to cut back from the property that they own, just like a homeowner. If your tree falls into your neighbor's yard, you know, he's going to cut it back, everything in his yard, and leave that portion that's in your yard. And that's kind of how it happens most times. Now, with this case, they might have had so many trees down, they just prioritized getting them off from blocking the roads. And, yeah, maybe they should have taken it back a little further. Mm-hmm.
I've seen that over time, though, even other storms that I've been doing, because I used to drive a limousine, and I saw that when I was going up where the old Mayview State Hospital was. Trees fell down. And I actually almost hit one of them that was right on the edge of the road because I come around the bend. And the guy, when I was talking to them, there was a road crew guy, whatever there, and he says, we're only allowed to cut it to the street line. We can't do any more with it. I said, well, you need that shoulder. You're going to run right into the thing. You know, so I've been noticing it quite a few times. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to just know if there was rules changed from years ago or things have changed, you know, because I remember when trees fell down, they'd chop it down into like little segments and either push it back or grind it up altogether.
Yeah, maybe people are a little more lazier these days. I don't know, Mike. Back in the day, things, got done a different way. So it's a minimalist approach for sure on a topic like that.
You were talking about those Victorian homes in Beaver, and I know exactly where you're talking about because I don't live too far from there. And all we ever knew growing up was work. But imagine your job doing it back in the day without a powered chainsaw and just an axe or a saw. Imagine doing that with that type of no electricity, no gas, no battery powered, no nothing. How tough would that be, Carlos?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that old, but when I did start, I was 19. I was going to Duquesne University, and I started working for a local tree company in my neighborhood, and I was, doing it to stay in shape, and I just ended up loving it, and I started my own company the next year. But I remember when I was doing tree work, I think I got paid $6 an hour.
Wow.
I mean, now my guys make $20, $30, $40 an hour, and it's the same work. It's actually a little easier because we got so much equipment now, but yeah, it's a job that you got to really like and be passionate about. If there's nothing easy about it, it's very labor intensive, whichever way you get, you address it.
All right, let's go right back to the phones. Getting busy here in the final minutes of the program. Here's Patty in Penn Hills on the show that is featuring Carlos McClintock, Greater Pitt Tree Service. Go ahead, Patty. Good morning.
Oh, yes. Hi. I had two questions. One, I wondered if Mr. McClintock had any advice for when you have a big tree and these storms fall, but just in your yard, it doesn't damage your house or anything, so therefore you have no insurance coverage at all, and you don't have the money to pay for that. And secondly, I wondered if you notice any trend in the insurance companies to offer special waivers that you could, not waivers, but like a rider to your policy that just for trees only.
Yes, two good points. As far as the yard falling in the tree, it's expensive, and if you don't have that money to get it out of there, it puts you in a bad position. Now, I've been known to do a few free jobs here and there, so you never know. You might catch me in a good mood and I come out and take care of it. But then the rider policy, I have heard that sometimes, if you have big, beautiful trees on your property, I think you can get them insured like an asset because, if you have 10 beautiful oak trees on your property, they're irreplaceable. You can get those insured, and they could put a monetary value on those trees, and you're going to pay a premium against that.
Right.
But if they come down in a storm like this, you will get compensation. That's something to look into with them. But I have heard cases of those where people buy these big properties or estates or even a regular home, I guess. Some people buy a home because of trees or have lived there, and they just so attached to the trees that they want to insure them like a family member or a pet or a vehicle or a home. People are getting attached to these beautiful trees on the property. And, if the insurance company, if you're paying them, they'll pretty much insure anything, I guess.
Anything. Do companies like yours, like if you have a tree down but there's not going to be an insurance payment, do you work with companies or offer payment plans or financing through someone you work with or anything like that?
Yes, good question. Yeah, we'll help you out, and get it done for you. There's no reason that you should live with a massive tree in your yard. It actually, in your policy, if it's kind of threatening or blocking something, you can't live in peril. That's in your policy, too. The insurance company has to, they have to make sure that, this tree isn't causing any threat to you or anybody in your home. So it just depends on where it's at on the property. As far as financing, we have a couple different ways. We're a preferred vendor through Dollar Bank, which is Pittsburgh-born institution. They're awesome.
Right.
We have a great partnership. We're almost like friends out there now at this point. We've been with them so long. They do 0% interest. It's called a timeline card. And they'll finance you up to $30,000. You might not need that much, but whatever you end up getting, they'll give you 12 months of no interest payments to pay it off, which is awesome. And if you carry it any longer, it's just their going interest rate. And I can't tell you how many projects that they've facilitated for us because tree work is expensive. And then if somebody doesn't want to, if somebody doesn't want to do that route, we do an in-house financing, no interest. We try to get half of the cost, and then we'll give you as many months as you need to pay off the balance. So give us a call, mention that you called in on the show, and I'll make sure we take care of it for you.
Carlos, great job. The way it looks on my schedule, we'll see you on a Saturday, May 31st at noon, but you'll always be with us from time to time on Sundays, too. We appreciate you. You're a big part of the city, and you definitely practice what you preach about hard work, and you've been doing it since a teen, and you continue to do it today. We're grateful to have you in the community. Be safe out there.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
All right, there he goes. Carlos McClintock. Again, here's how you can get a hold of him. 412-884-TREE. That's 412-884-8733. And, of course, the website, Greater Pitt Tree Service, PA.com. Now, here's the way things stack up the rest of today. 10 o'clock, News with Rob, Accurate Solutions at 10. And then the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show. Paul Skeens, 3-4 in the year, trying to get back on the right side of things as he's getting ready to pitch in Philadelphia today at 1:35. We'll talk about Gene Lamont coming back to the Pittsburgh Pirates. The NHL, the NBA playoffs continue. And we've got the PGA at Quail Hollow to talk about, and a lot of NFL news and notes as well. All today on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show on KDKA. It's your Pratt Pack. Good morning.
The proceeding was paid for by Greater Pitt Tree Service. Information on the program was intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information heard on the preceding program.